participants, speakers, and our team. My heartfelt gratitude to all of them. I welcome you all to our 2200th webinar. I'll now ask Mr. Pavan Vijay, our mentor and founder at Corporate Professionals, to deliver his welcome address and take this forward.
Good evening, everyone. It is my extraordinary moment for me personally and for all of us at the corporate profession as we come together to celebrate our 200th webinar milestone. This occasion is not just a celebration of a number, but a celebration of an enduring commitment to the value of knowledge sharing, collaboration, and excellence that corporate professional has stood for since its inception. When we began our webinar series back in April 2020, the world was facing one of the most challenging times. The uncertainty of the pandemic created a pressing need for connecting, clarity, and information. We saw an opportunity to serve to create a platform where ideas could converse, solution could be shaped, and a sense of community could thrive amongst isolation. Little did we realize that the humble initiative would grow, become a big tree for over 1,35,000 registered participants and voice of thought leaders and contribution from over 300 eminent speakers. Today, I just want to acknowledge my distinguished speaker, those who have come. We reflect on this incredible journey. I feel a deep sense of gratitude, grateful to our distinguished speakers, including parliamentarian, members of judiciary, government officials, regulator, SEBI, MC, IBBI, and CCI, industry leader, professional, and the governance professional like Damodaran sir and Chalis sir. They are there. Your expertise and insight have elevated these webinars to unparalleled level of quality and relevance. To all our speakers, your contribution have not only educated but inspired, setting benchmark for governance and professional excellence. Friends, I salute all my speakers for this journey which we have today celebrating. To our participant, you have been the heartbeat of our initiative. Your curiosity, engagement, and feedback have driven us to constantly innovate and improve. You remind us why we started this journey to empower professionals and foster a culture of learning and good governance. Friends, I salute everyone, those who have participated, and some of the participants, when we will announce their name, they have attended more than 160, 155 programs which we have done, and we will honor today to them. Friends, this journey cannot be completed. So I also wish to recognize our incredible team at Corporate Professional. This milestone is a result of their unwavering dedication, creativity, and passion. Every session we have hosted is a testament of their hard work and vision. And they have worked hard every time and everywhere. You can understand when we are organizing a program, it is every week is very difficult. So the department, the knowledge sharing, and the team is working very hard to do this. Then come to this program and our future vision, what we want to do. As we celebrate this milestone, it is also a moment to look forward. The journey of 200 webinar has taught us that the pursuit of knowledge is infinite, and our responsibility as enabler to this pursuit is unwavering. Our vision for the future is to expand this platform, embracing innovation, exploring new themes, and continue to impact lives and industries for the betterment. What we are planning to do is focus on emerging themes like AI in compliance, global ESG, cross-border, future of corporate governance, increased interactivity like question answer polls. We want to involve global reach also, international expert we want to invite. Thematic series like focus series on SEBI, regulation, valuation, standard governance practices. And we want to do tie-up with various institution, those who are doing this type of activity, so we both can do together a bigger thing. Technology integration, we want to do it. And so AI-driven insight for feedback and dynamic topics we can suggest. At the last, I'll just say, the Rig Veda says, Sagacham Samvedham Sa Svo Manasi Janatam. May we move forward together, speak together, and let our minds be united in understanding. Benjamin Franklin has famously told, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And we all are doing this. Corporate professional may be organizing this, but all the speaker, all the participants are doing the same task which we are doing. We are just instrumental, but other people are really adding value to this. Let us honor the past, celebrate the present, and march together towards an even brighter future. Here is to many more milestones and continued success for all of us. Thank you very much, and thanks everyone who has come here.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your inspiring words. As we look back on this journey of our 200th webinar, let us also take a moment to revisit our milestones and achievements that have shaped this platform. So we'll play a small video capturing our journey of 200th webinar. So team, if you can play the video.
That this is a pandemic.
When the world was gripped by uncertainty during the COVID-19 pandemic, we at Corporate Professionals became knowledge warriors. With a commitment to bridging the gap between knowledge and action, we launched our first webinar to empower professionals with clarity and insights. What started as a single initiative has grown into a powerful knowledge-sharing platform that brings professionals, regulators, and thought leaders together. Today, we celebrate 200 webinars, reaching over 135,000 professionals, with 300+ thought leaders contributing to the journey. Over the years, our webinars have featured a diverse and distinguished panel of speakers, representing the very best in corporate governance, law, and regulation. These 300+ esteemed speakers have made every session a powerhouse of insight, fostering learning and sparking innovation. Our webinars have driven real impact, influencing policies, fostering governance, and empowering professionals across industries. They have educated professionals, resolved over 5,000 participant queries, bridged gaps between regulators and stakeholders, and created a robust repository of knowledge through FAQs, videos, and discussions. Our webinars have delivered actionable recommendations to key regulatory bodies. For SEBI, we contributed to the SEBI Settlement Scheme 2020, updates to PIT regulations, ESOP suggestions, and improvements to LODR provisions. For MCA, our inputs have driven CSR policy enhancements, MCA 21 version 3.0 advancements, and reforms in company law and LLP law. For E, we provided clarity on pre-packaged insolvency resolution processes. Additionally, our efforts resulted in landmark publications like the Handbook on Mergers and Amalgamations of Government Companies and reports on the impact of the Companies Act 2013. As we celebrate this milestone, we set our sights on the future with a renewed vision. We aim to expand our webinar offerings with thematic series on ESG, AI in governance, and global regulatory trends. We plan to diversify platforms with podcasts and interactive knowledge hubs, strengthen thought leadership through annual reports, and foster community through membership programs and networking opportunities. With innovation, collaboration, and a commitment to excellence, we look forward to the next 200 webinars and beyond. With 200 webinars strong, Corporate Professionals continues to drive transformation and excellence in governance. Join us as we shape the future.
Thank you very much, team. I'll now request Pawan sir to take the proceedings forward. Sir, you are on mute.
Thank you very much, Ankit, and team led by Shivka and Asif and Vivek, those who have made this video. Friends, as you are aware that we have showcased our journey, and this journey, if you have seen, the credit not only goes to only the team, the CP, but my speaker and participant, which I have told. Today, we want to discuss on the topic on catalyst for corporate growth, unveiling the next wave of regulatory reforms. We have a very distinguished panel with us today. Now, I'll just tell everyone the purpose of this, because this is a signature program and we want to have a futuristic topic and we want to cover maximum suggestion and maximum idea. And the way we have done earlier also, out of this idea, we will organize separate program in detail. So whatever will come. So we want maximum suggestion on this. And because we have invited various speakers, those who are from the judiciary, by the judiciary and parliament and corporate world and regulator. Everybody is so busy, but they have committed that they will come. So that's why we have not fixed the timings, and some of them we have given the broader timeline, and some of them will join, and I will manage. This is a very Herculean task to manage this to this type of galaxy, but I will do it this. So first I'll request Mr. GP Madan, who is a partner with us and who is a founder of Madan Law Firm. He will talk about the experience of this webinar, and then I'll request Jane Gupta sir and then Damodaran sir for speaking. Yes. Mr. Madan, please.
Yeah, 200 not out. Congratulations, Pawan. I've seen you so closely. It has been my privilege to be part of this fantastic journey. Very, very insightful and meaningful webinars. Your webinars have been, Pawan, repository of, I'll say, all latest legal updates, judicial pronouncements, analytical updates. I'll say that all your webinars have been providing practical solutions to many challenges which have been faced by many professionals. And I tell you, many professionals, to be on the lighter side, have saved lakhs and lakhs of rupees from seeking legal opinions from the legal luminaries, and rather they have sought the legal opinions through your webinars. So that way they have saved on the behalf of their client, on the behalf of their employers, or on behalf of them, on their own behalf. Pawan, this is truly giving back to the society. This is the real social responsibility discharge. May God give you very, very long life and very good health. And my compliments to you and all your team members, and heartiest congratulations too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madan. Madan has told me that he will not speak on any topic. Just he's also part and he's one of the other speakers. So don't follow Madan's path, sir. Gupta sir. So Madan is not speaking on topic. He has already told me. So please, Gupta sir. Please unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Pawan. And I echo what Mr. Madan is saying, that these webinars are very knowledgeable and you are doing a very good service to professionals, and many ideas germinate from this and they transform into new hope for people who are doing work in the corporate governance field. Now, I would very limit to myself a very small things. First of all, we have seen in last 10 or 12 years, the governance has become a very, very important factor in corporate life. Ever since Companies Act came and LODR came and all other things came, governance has become a center stage for many things. And of late, you would be noticing that people have started realizing the premium that the governance gives to their valuation. It is still only 5% or 10% people are realizing, but things will change when almost a majority of people start realizing this. Now, what I always feel that many a times governance has become a big problem for compliance people. People differentiate, people are unable to differentiate whether the compliance is governance or vice versa. I would say compliance is nothing but following the law. Governance is much, much beyond that. And whenever you talk to corporate, this is the compliance cost has gone up. So I always say that don't think compliance is a burden. We all go for medical insurance, and medical insurance costs us money, but medical insurance saves us from future problems. So compliance is your insurance for future problems that you can avoid. That is one part. The other thing is this, that what happens when I am compliant and somebody else is not compliant and he doesn't face any music, then I feel that why the hell I am doing compliance. So first step would be that not more laws, but more and better effective enforcement of laws is the requirement. Second thing is this, we have to differentiate between compliance in letter and compliance in spirit. We have to not believe that Ashwathama mar gaya type of situation where it can be interpreted either way. Then I will come to few basics things that which I want to see in next 4 or 5 years to change. First thing I noticed that we have been writing in our proxy report many things. We have been critical of people. But unfortunately, my feedback is this, that the companies are not sharing those reports with the board, with the directors. So understand, we have been writing against the director, against the board, but the board is unaware what proxy advisor has written. So we would want that somehow voluntarily the industry, the corporate should come forward and say that we will discuss and disclose all the proxy advisory report to the board concerned. So that at least if we are wrong, we should also know board's opinion that why we feel this way and why they feel other way. That is first part. The second part is this, we have been discussing, you're aware that RPT has become a very, very big contentious issue, disclosure and something. There I would say, let us do the ABC analysis and find out what are the RPTs which are really, really pain in the neck or which are troublesome. One thing related to RPT, I will say that RPT says majority of minority. Now you will find many companies here where the ex-promoters or founders, after listing has happened, they have become part of public. Now, this gives a very, very convenient way of doing any RPT transaction because your ex-partners are not going to vote against you and they are in the public. So somehow we will have to capture that. Other thing which I want to see is this, that when we analyze, we find that many a time the schemes of arrangement are being used to get away from SST regulation. So somehow or other we will have to plug this gap. The one more area where we require a very big improvement is valuation report and this thing. If you look at all the valuation report, it gives you all the knowledge that you can obtain from Google and all the disclaimers that we don't know anything, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly they say the ratio of merger is this. We have a case where we found that two companies are merging with each other. One company is a holding company, and the holding company in between the merger and the actual thing happening have sold almost 33% of their stake in the subsidiary, and the ratio has continued same. So these type of things which are happening, and unfortunately we have limited scope, or my peers also have a very limited scope. This has to be curbed from the industry level as well. Lastly, I would say that if we have seen last couple of years, ESG has become a big thematic issue. As of now, appreciation of ESG is only to that extent that SEBI wants this, SEBI wants that. But ultimately, we got to understand that ESG is for your survival. So I foresee the next couple of years, ESG will become as important as credit rating for evaluation of investment. And that is the time when your governance will also become very important, environment will become, and social, because I always say that of all the things that we are doing on ESG, center is S, the social. Unless until we handle the social, all E and G are useless. So we got to focus on the S part. And I think I would stop at this and we'll give it back to Pawan. Thank you.
Thank you, Gupta sir. Thank you. You are doing a wonderful job. The valuation report aspects, RPT and ESG, you have rightly pointed out. And in my opening remarks, I also told that we should focus on ESG. The ESG is the future, and everybody should realize this contains governance, social, as well as your survival. So all three things in one go. No doubt in India, people follow when the government is strict. Now, though I don't want Damodaran sir to speak first because I have got a request, sir, from some of the people, those who are joining little after 10-15 minutes. They are saying Damodaran sir ko thoda sa because you have told you will leave. So, sir, can I request you to just stay for 5? Some more people are joining the program. Sir, you have to unmute yourself, sir.
Give me some indication how long you want me to stay, because I have to go and consult my eye doctor and I can't leave that too late. That's
I think, sir, after 5-7 minutes, after the next speaker, then you can.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
now,
Yes. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Damodaran.
Good afternoon.
So now we have.
Good to see you.
Yeah. So we have another speaker, Miss Anpurna Gupta. She is account member of ITAT, and she's a chartered accountant by profession, and she is presently in Ahmedabad. And I'll request Anpurna Madam to say something on the development part with the income tax and your own point of view. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Pawan Vijay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for, I must begin by congratulating Mr. Pawan Gupta on this 200th webinar, which is a very laudable gesture, disseminating knowledge. And I'm attending this webinar for the first time. Though as a speaker, I've never attended as a participator also, but I can see that he brings in a lot of a galaxy of speakers to it. So congratulations to you for conducting these webinars. Anyway, the topic for today's webinar, which is Catalyst for Corporate Growth, Unveiling the Next Wave of Regulatory Reforms, the Future of Tax, the specific topic which has been allotted to me considering the background from which I'm coming, the future of tax litigation, anticipating the impact of tax reforms on dispute resolution. Well, to be honest, it took me 20 readings to understand what it means. And for those who have understood, it is very good. And from what I have understood, I would just like to come out clearly so that I'm sure what I'm talking about is the correct thing. The topic today probably is the reforms, which are the suggestions being taken on the reforms which are required to speed up the process of the corporate growth, probably considering the growth trajectory on which our economy is moving. And the specific area which I need to address is the reforms in the judicial sector. Am I right? The reforms which are suggested in this area. So I would begin by saying, and this is a very important thing, which I am experiencing day in and day out as an adjudicator, whether while, interpreting the tax laws or hearing the lawyers in front of me, which is the usage of very, very simple language. We have to understand that language, we have to not forget, that the primary purpose of language is communication. And it has to be simple, whether it comes in form of tax laws or whether it comes in any other form, it has to be very simple. And this is where all the tax litigation begins. So if asking for suggestions on the reforms in the litigation sector, I would say that we have to begin with reducing the quantum of litigation, which is the root cause, we have to address the root problem. And that comes from the complex and confusing laws that we have, more particularly the taxation laws, the instability which is there in it, Every year we have, amendments coming about in them. And there are too many compliances and procedures in them. So this is one problem which needs to be addressed at the earliest. I'm aware that the current dispensation is working on a new tax law, trying to make it very simple. And but one area which really needs to be worked upon is to keep them stable. There has to be a long-term perspective taken while framing laws. We cannot have a finance bill coming up every year and making amendments to the tax laws. That creates a lot of confusion. It is only, these appear to be certain knee-jerk reactions which only create a lot of confusion in the tax laws. And as a result, they, result in more and more litigation. The next area is the implementers of these tax laws, the tax department, which is there. Of course, they need to be very effective and transparent. And on that aspect, I find that a lot of work has already been done with technology being adopted, the faceless assessment being adopted. So that area particularly does not require too much of reform. The major reform, I would reiterate, is in the creation of simple, compliant, clear, and stable laws. And another important factor is that there should be, one factor which needs to be kept in mind while framing laws is that minor offenses should be decriminalized. That creates more of voluntary compliances. Now, once the taxpayer is comfortable with the tax laws, he knows what it is about, he's happy with those laws. Of course, you cannot make them very happy with it, but he knows that it is not too much of a burden on him, whether trying to understand it or whether trying to comply with it. Then you have a lot of voluntary compliance, which automatically reduces a lot of litigation. And once this problem is addressed, we then go to the aspect which is there before me, which is addressing the reforms in the dispute resolution. The existing infrastructure that we have is sufficient to probably address the reduced litigation which will come in by the reforms which I have just pointed out. But in any ways, we have alternative dispute resolution mechanisms also by way of the settlement commission, which settles disputes. The taxpayer can go up and come out with clean hands, saying that I'm ready to pay taxes on whatever you have discovered from me. We have the authority for advanced rulings, where you can go and find out what the view is on a particular issue. If there is any confusion, we already have all those procedures in place. And maybe we can do with a little bit of mediation and arbitration also being brought in. But most importantly, in my view, what needs to be considered is the adoption of artificial intelligence in the entire process of framing of tax laws, the execution and implementation of the tax laws, and even as far as adjudicating the tax disputes is concerned. We all know that artificial intelligence can analyze historical, case data, and they can predict the likely outcomes of any tax dispute. This helps both the taxpayers and the authorities to make informed decisions. For the framers of law, they can find out how good a particular provision of law, how effective it is, and what areas needs to be addressed in it. They can also be assisted by artificial intelligence in finding out what areas need a particular provision of law also. Artificial intelligence needs to be adopted in more effective manner in the entire process of creation, implementation, and the dispensation of law, and for that matter, even adjudication. I do not need to emphasize the importance of this. And I think that's all that I have to say about the reforms required in the litigation area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Purna, madam. Your point is well taken, and the most important thing which you have mentioned, that every year when we are confused with the one law which is coming out with some changes, and in the finance bill every year it is changing, and they are changing definition. So it is not creating clarity, it is creating more dispute. Absolutely right. Thank you very much for your insightful or your understanding on this part.
Thank you.
Now, yeah, I will request Damodaran sir. Uh, uh, as everybody knows, Damodaran sir is a ex SEBI chairperson man, and he's IAS officer, and he's now presently founder and chairperson of Excellence Enablers. There's an association, and they are doing wonderful job in governance. Over to you, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself, sir.
I will.
Yeah.
I permitted myself the luxury of a cough. That is why I had muted it at that time. Thank you. I hope I will not cough between now and when I sign off. Thank you, Pavan, for this opportunity. Let me start by complimenting you on the extraordinary work that you have done, over 200 webinars with several hundreds ahead of you. I want to tell you this, that this is a landmark, this is a milestone. Equally, there is another milestone we are looking at. The first quarter of the 21st century is getting over in the next 10 days. We are getting into the second quarter. We start with 2000 and end with 2024. We're actually finishing 25 years in the course of the next 10 days. So in that context, what you have asked us to address, which is regulatory
I think, sir, just see, Manoj, sir का connection lose हो गया. You talk.
Sir, it appears he might have lost the connection.
Okay. So till the time sir is rejoining us, I will request Amar Patnaik. Dr. Amar Patnaik is a ex Rajya Sabha member, and he was one of the prominent parliamentarian. Amar Patnaik and we were in the same hostel in Jubilee Hall, Delhi University. Amar bhai, over to you. Amar sir se baat kariye. You have to unmute yourself. Amar bhai, you have to unmute.
Sorry, what happened was that my laptop decided to part company with me. So I had to make friends with the laptop again.
Okay.
So let me continue where I stopped. I think what we need to understand is what is reform. Reform does not mean waking up every morning and writing a new regulation. That's not reform. Reform equally means taking out of your rule book the regulations that are no longer contextually relevant. To see that we are only having the contextually relevant laws and regulations to address this. So that is what I see as reform. The second is that there must be a philosophy of regulation that is clearly thought through and well articulated. I am not sure, given all the extraordinary activity that we are seeing on the regulatory front, that there is a defining regulatory philosophy. And I don't want to expand on that. I will just park that thought. I'll just give one example. Madam Gupta mentioned a little while ago that we need to decriminalize more offenses. My question is, in the first place, why were they criminal offenses? It's because our entire philosophy was based on distrust of the guys who are doing business. So you treated everything like a crime. And now that there is a lot of pushback, you are actually decriminalizing. This is something that should not have been done earlier, which we are addressing now. There was also a statement, I think it was Gupta ji who mentioned, Mr. Jain Gupta, that people are talking about the cost of compliance. I've always maintained governance is an investment, it's not expenditure. You don't invest in governance, you're making a huge mistake. Yes, there will be outgoes, but those are not expenditure. That is something that I thought I would mention upfront. Now, when I talk again in terms of the philosophy of regulation, what I have in mind, and I think Samarjit Singh has joined, so some of what I say might be relevant for him to take away and work on. What I'm focusing on really is you do not see the regulated universe as your enemy. You don't need to have an adversary relationship. See yourself as working together to further the cause of business, and in the process, pull up the people that have committed serious errors, but don't go after every small minor offender of a technical nature and then clog your system and then put some kind of heavy load on your bandwidth. That is not important. Constructive consultation, and I've been focusing on this for a long, long time. Yesterday, the SEBI board finally decided that there would be a minimum of 21 days to get feedback from people. 21 days is a miserly kind of a period. We're talking about important issues. Now, think of a situation where you have in the pipeline several consultation papers. You don't get 21 days of undivided time to address one paper. There are several that you're looking at. I would say for a start, move that to 30 days. I've had a conversation with Amarjeet several months ago, maybe years ago, and he too agrees that for making consultation constructive, you need to have a longer period to elicit the views of the stakeholder community. You need to communicate better with the stakeholder community. While regulation cannot be carried out on the streets, and many people want to know on a daily basis what the regulator is doing, that's not necessary. But where necessary, communicate clearly to the stakeholders. Now, I want to move from here to a couple of other things which I've been talking about for ages. Why can't we have a regulatory impact assessment scheme which makes it compulsory for regulators, not just the securities market regulator, to study the possible impact before writing a new regulation? At the end of the day, the tab is being picked up by the people in whose name you're writing the regulations. They are all pass-through agents. That's the guy that is picking up the bill for it. So let's at least keep his or her interest in mind and see that you write regulations which are necessary to be written. You also must have an advanced ruling authority, certainly. That's important. You must have a sunset clause for regulation so that you write a regulation that seems relevant today and it doesn't continue till kingdom come. Events have overtaken you, the context has changed, and yet you continue to have the same regulations on your statute book. That is not such a good thing to do. What you also need to have increased focus on the quality and credibility of the audit process. I look at auditors as goalkeepers. If the ball goes past them, then it's a goal. There's nobody standing behind them to make goal line saves. Very rarely does that happen, right? So the credibility of the audit profession, so that I, as an individual investing good money in a company, can rely on the audit reports to know whether the money that I've invested is being put to the right use and certainly not to any illegal uses. I think NAFRA is doing some work on that, but it's important not to wait for NAFRA to pass orders in every case or to produce reports in every case, but to learn from what they have already put out and see that you are not visited with the same negative conclusions when it is your turn to get inspected. I think that is something which the audit firms need to look at. I did mention that you needed to have better communication and constructive consultation. One of the other things which bothers me is that we have prescribed in the Companies Act 2013 in Schedule 4 for a board evaluation process. In the entire corporate ecosystem, one of the biggest scams that is going on is the board evaluation process. And I'm using this word advisedly because this is not even a case of ticking the box. It is giving comfort to those who believe that your board and the committees and the directors are being evaluated, that you have actually tested whether these people are doing the right things. But the way evaluation is conducted, I think what SEBI should do is to mandate that at least once in 3 years, my personal preference would be 2, at least once in 3 years, get an outsider to come and do the evaluation. Then you can follow that when you do your internal evaluation processes. Because it's one thing to say that we must focus on the proper constitution of the boards, but having got there, and many companies, almost all companies, are taking the lazy option. When you say that term cannot exceed 5 years, you give everybody a 5-year term so that you don't have to go back to the shareholders. Why don't we look at, I mean, I was very delighted to see what the Maharashtra government or the chief minister announced, that after 2.5 years, he will evaluate performance of the ministers. How that's going to work out, I don't know. But as a thought that appealed to me, that that's the kind of thing that you need to look at when you're looking at your board, to see whether those that were once valuable continue to add value as the years have gone by. That is something that I believe is important. You need to have a regulator who is responsive. And when I say responsive, take all legitimate concerns on board, have a continuing dialogue, have an open mind to put in place those that might seem a dilution of what you have already put in place. There are no egos involved in this, neither individual egos nor institutional egos. I think we're all working for the benefit of a system, and I think therefore it is important that there must be a continuing conversation with the regulated universe and the regulator, better communication and constructive consultation. These are some of the points that I hope will happen in 2025 and going forward in the subsequent years. There was a reference made to writing regulations in simple language. I have started a few years ago an exercise along with some of the students of the law colleges to take existing regulations and write them in simple sentences. And I can tell you that what I have seen so far is a very gratifying exercise. My brief to them is, don't change the content of the law. You can't do that. You are not SEBI, you are not IRB. But take the regulation and write it in simple English, because I've always maintained that when you tell me ignorance of law is no excuse, help me understand the law by writing it in simple language. Because if you complicate the language and then say that you're ignorant, that's no excuse, expect me to spend a ton of money on lawyers to interpret that, or maybe wait till Pavan Vijay holds one more seminar to shed light on what are the issues involved. But we can't have that as a systemic response, and that is something that we need to address. So I have a long list. It's a wish list. We are heading into the new year, and it could be a wish list that I might, if I'm so tempted, share with the regulators, not just the securities market regulator, say, please, can you do some of these? But what I have now shared with you is what I believe we should look at on a very, very urgent basis as of yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Damodaran sir. Your point is very, very valid. The board evaluation process, it's absolutely your interpretation. And the most important things which you have mentioned, the regulatory impact assessment. And that is one part. And I'm unfortunate that the next session, Mr. Dr. Amar Patnaik will speak on this. He is one of the brilliant parliamentarian and the expert in data management because he was in the committee. And the most important thing, he is one of the finest person I ever met in the politics. Over to you, Amar Bhai. We were together in the hostel, sir. We in the Jubilee Hall, Delhi University. Over to you, Amar Bhai.
I have your permission to leave after Dr. Patnaik's speech.
Yes,
so
sir.
I am
So
also waiting to hear.
yeah. So after Patnaik, we will just release our coffee book and then you can leave, sir.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Pawan, and thank you so much, Damodaran sir. As a student, one used to see your action as the SEBI chief when one was preparing for the civil services, if I remember. And I think, Pawan, the point here is that Madam Gupta, I think whoever was speaking before, Mr. Damodaran, when I tried to log into your website, into the Zoom call. She also spoke about a number of things on which probably I'm going to speak. What I have seen during my 5 years as a member of Parliament, and I think more importantly, a member of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance, is that many of the changes in law did pass through the Standing Committee on Finance. And I can tell you also this much, that the deliberations in the Standing Committee were quite, I thought, deep, and members really came prepared. We had wider consultation with various stakeholders. Now, let's take the IBC. At least in the 4 amendments that came through in IBC, I was there in the committee. The one relating to home buyers, for example, we called all the associations. We had consultations with the chartered accountants. We had consultations, of course, with the ministry, which is mandatory. And then, sir gave certain recommendations. It's a different matter that not all the recommendations given by the Standing Committee is accepted by the government, and changes are made to the law. But yes, there is a huge responsibility, obviously, for the Parliament to pass the right laws at the right time. And that would require the policymakers and the executive, the finance ministry officials, and to be in continuous conversation with the industry, with the various industrial bodies, scan the environment as to what's happening, and not just, come out with something whose time is already past. So that is what, again, I thought is something which I would like to speak upfront, that there is a need for legislative reforms to be brought in time, because they will shape India's corporate future. And if the consultation, the wider consultation that the parliamentary committees are having, it is sometimes even wider than what the ministry has had. So I think that proper, attention or time should be spent to evaluate that, instead of sitting on the fact that since the bill has come from the government, everything has been taken on board. So this is something, I think, a lot of work that goes in over there should not get wasted. The number 2 I wanted to say about our legislations, besides the language issue which spoke about, is the fact that I think sometimes we'll have to do principle-based legislation. A lot of our legislations turn out to be too prescriptive in the act itself, and which, of course, no legislature has you don't have the time in the parliament to speak on all those small details, and therefore a better approach which we followed in the personal data protection bill, the second one, that is the one which was reintroduced in 2023 and passed in 2023, is to go for a principle-based act. And then the next rules and regulations, which can be amenable to a faster process of change, should become more prescriptive. The third point which I wanted to make upfront is the fact that I personally now have come across several situations, and I spoke about in Parliament on this, that there has to be publicly displayed timelines for approvals, inspections, anything that the regulators do. Currently, I think the regulators, whether it is RBI, whether it is SEBI, whether it is IRDA, whether it is the other regulators, there are no timelines, and these timelines are not being publicized. So the problem is many of the corporate entities, particularly in the tech sector, startups who are just coming into the corporate sector for the first time, they are sometimes they get demoralized, and many of them I used to meet in the fintech space, in the lending space, and this is something one has to address. I have spoken about it in Parliament earlier, and this is something that one has to do. The third aspect which I want to speak about is the litigation. I think mediation laws, we introduced a new mediation law, and we wanted to, in the Parliament, and we wanted that it should, mediation should be a way of reducing disputes, reducing litigation, prolonged litigation. Unfortunately, that has not really, picked up in the country. There are several reasons for it. I think many of us know about all that. I expect that this is something in which the 2025 and subsequently reforms would be there. Reforms not just from the point of view of the legislature or the executive, but even the judiciary themselves. They sometimes blunt the objective of a particular legislation just by their interventions or poking into an area or interpreting in such a way that the objective for introduction of that particular legislation is defeated. So now I will talk about 5 aspects where I think legislative reforms could be brought in. One, of course, we have talked about it, and there's no end to it, and which is simplification of compliance norms. The compliance norms, if they are simplified, then the economy will get more formalized. People will have more confidence. The filing procedures should be simplified. I talked about time, reducing the number of approvals itself, reducing not only the time but the number, and enhancing transparency. So simplification of the compliance norms, which would also result in lesser cost of compliance, which we talked about, is one key area. Second is corporate governance and accountability. Sir talked about it. And I think there, I feel that the disclosure requirements, they need to be enhanced. More power should be given for shareholders. And once these disclosures are given, the regulator should have the capacity to evaluate these disclosures and get back in case of the insufficiency or inadequacy of a disclosure. I'm referring to, let's say, SEBI. SEBI has said that the first 1,000 companies will have the ESG disclosures. Now, who is evaluating whether the disclosure is adequate or inadequate? I have not seen a report. In fact, we have asked this question in the standing committee to the SEBI, and we were told that the regulatory capacity of the SEBI needs to be enhanced manifold. And that's what Sir was also talking about. This is an investment. This is not a cost. The third one is tax and fiscal reforms. Madam was talking about it. GST simplification, that's an ongoing process. It's happening. The dispute resolution mechanisms have to improve. I still feel a delayering of the dispute resolution mechanism is still possible. And that's something which probably the Ministry of Finance has to get into. The predictability of the tax regime is already there. That's a good thing. And fortunately, the trajectory of tax policy has almost been the same in the last few years. And this is largely being followed. But I think still there are issues relating to disputes, the time it takes, and sometimes the issues on which disputes are being raised, and overzealousness of tax authorities to meet their targets is something that has to be addressed. The fourth point is on the promotion of startups and innovation. I talked about it. We have to bring their costs. There has to be separate carve-outs for them in different tax laws. Not just tax laws, even let's say the data protection law implementation, which is going to be implemented because the act has been passed. Operationalization is not yet done, but it is going to happen. Now, that will bring in a tremendous amount of cost to everyone. And for the startups, it could be tremendous. So there has to be separate carve-out for them. And I had pleaded for it during the Joint Parliamentary Committee. We did put it in the initial version. In the final version, I think it was not there. So I spoke about it in Parliament. I hope the rules probably could take care of it. Even the penalty for non-compliance cannot be the same for a big tech firm and a startup. This is something that one has to think about. And the last one is ESG and sustainability laws. I think that has to be married into the corporate strategy. The regulatory prescriptions will probably have to come in which they just don't stop it as a disclosure or as a part of contribution like the CSR, 2% CSR, but they just get married into the corporate strategy. In which case only we can say that actual decarbonized growth is taking place, and that's good for the economy, because I've always believed that net zero is actually net positive in the long run. One other aspect is also monitoring. Now, monitoring for the sake of finding defects or demerits or deficiencies is one thing, and monitoring to act as give good feedback. Now, that mechanism, both the corporates have a role in it and the government has a role in it, and that has to probably get strengthened. I can't really often say what could be the structural change that will be required. It is already there, but I think it should get more formalized, more timely, and the output should be useful to the management to actually improve matters, both their business as well as business practices, corporate governance, as well as the sustainability aspect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amar Bhai. Thank you very much. You have rightly pointed out the interesting is the thing which should come out from the regulator side. It is coming from the legislative side. There's a very music to the ears, and the way things are changing, it will definitely take shape. Ankit.
Thank you, Dr. Patnaik. Thank you, sir. So on this occasion of 200 webinar, I'm also thrilled to share that we are launching a commemorative office table book, coffee table book, sorry, which chronicles the essence of our journey built on passion, shared vision. This book is also a fitting tribute to all our designates, partner speakers, or audience, and all the dignitaries. So, sir, if you can do the honors.
We have this, we are launching today. So this is our book on coffee table book, where we mentioned everything about the all program and testimonials and our entire journey.
I hope I'll get a copy when I reach Delhi.
Yes,
we'll share
yes,
with everyone.
We will share with everyone, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
sir,
you very
Radha
much.
ma'am has also
Thank
joined.
you. And I know Damodaran sir is not well. He is recently has gone for eye operation. I'm grateful, sir, that you have joined. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So I welcome Anuradha Madam also, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So now I will request Sailesh Haribhakti to say his point of view. And now, because you were mentioning about, and Anuradha Madam is there, Amarjit sir is there, both the SEBI and MCA is here. So your point will very well taken for this. Over to you, Sailesh sir.
Thank you very much, Pawan. First, please accept my congratulations on the phenomenal work that Corporate Professionals is doing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your coffee table edition.
Sure, sir. Sure.
What I have done today is I have taken inspiration from the 7 greatest tech companies on earth, and I've crystallized a few ideas on where AI is going to go in 2025 and what kind of regulations should AI have in order to make sure that the human stays in the loop. So here goes very rapidly. What are the core pathways of AI development? And I've broken it down by areas. So the first pathway that we need to consider is utilities. AI-driven energy management, smart grids, predictive maintenance, AI in logistics and resource optimization, healthcare utilities, diagnostics, precision medicine. No tablet which is common is applicable to each one of us as human beings. We need absolutely precise medicines, which can now be possible because we have folded all the proteins in the world. Second is infrastructure, data centers optimized by AI or green computing, AI-specific hardware evolution, quantum computing integration into AI, 5G and edge computing as AI enablers. Agenticity. 25 will belong to AI agents, personal AI assistants evolving into general purpose agents, all working together to do our work. AI agents autonomously managing tasks and workflows, cross-enterprise agents for supply chain synchronization, data envelopes and ownership, personal data clouds for user-controlled AI training, federated learning for privacy, preserving data use, real-time secure data exchange systems. All of this will become clearer and more emphasized in 25. Full appification, modular AI apps tailored for niche use cases will be all around us. AI stores for enterprise and individual applications, continuous learning cycles integrated into these apps, interoperability, so critical. You cannot have apps which can't talk to each other and agents that can't work together. For this, standards and clarity and open frameworks will have to be established. Finally, guardrails against monopoly power will have to be laid down. Equally, data access and use should be democratized and facilitated. Connection to workflows has to be very strong, and both open and closed systems of AI will have to be embraced. The regulations which are human-centric and practical, which we need. What are the core principles? We need to make sure that there is transparency, explainable AI outputs for high-impact decisions, standardized disclosure formats for AI systems, accountability, clear liability frameworks for AI-generated outcomes, audit trails for decisions made by high-stakes AI, inclusivity, encourage participation from diverse communities in AI design, incentives for local language AI development, safety, continuous testing for adversarial robustness, built-in fail-safe systems in critical AI applications. Then we need a regulatory layer for the foundational models, for application-specific AIs, using certification schemes and pre-market testing. Data governance has to be established in a way that we have begun to establish, as we have seen across all the speakers today, corporate governance. But most importantly, human oversight is going to be absolutely important. Guidelines for human-in-the-loop HITL processes across industries will have to be laid down. Anti-monopoly measures will have to be taken by the bodies established to govern AI, and open ecosystem standards with very strong ethical and social standards to make sure that bias is mitigated, digital literacy is enhanced, and sustainability is actually kept as the clear lens through which all of this must be envisioned. This framework envisions AI as a tool to augment human intelligence, much as Madam Gupta was mentioning a little while ago, very critical for all our processes while ensuring fairness, safety, and widespread access. The regulatory structure combines global oversight with local adaptability, fostering innovation while protecting against risks. The goal is to ensure that AI remains a force for collective growth, productivity, and ethical progress in a world that we will all enjoy leaving behind for our future generations. That is what I believe 25 will bring for us to really work within. And Pawan, this is one of the areas that you mentioned in your initial talk will need attention. And I, for one, believe that it requires complete blue sky, open book analysis and interaction by people of the kind and caliber that you have been able to bring together on this platform. So I wish you all the best in making sure that AI and sustainability gain the ascendancy that they deserve in 2025. All the best.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And you have touched my favorite subject, the technology. I was thinking that technology can do anything, but now AI has come. And you will not believe, sir, the AI is a right assistant to you if you use properly, and it can solve your multiple desire which you have in mind to do something. And if you use properly, it will be a great thing. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words and kind guidance. Now, we have Mr. Shakil Akhtar, State Chief Finance Information Commissioner, Tamil Nadu. And again, Shakil Bhai, and he was also from the same hostel, Jubilee Hall. And Amar Patnaik, we were all colleagues there. So over to you, Shakil Bhai. Please, your point of view.
Good evening, Pawan. Hope I am visible. Okay, fine. So I must congratulate you for the webinar you are organizing, and today is the 200th webinar. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And as we know, India, as one of the world's largest growing economies, has long been a key player in global business and investment. For the country to sustain this momentum and protect itself into the next phase of growth, regulatory reforms play a crucial role. These reforms are designed not only to streamline business, but also to promote transparency, ease of doing business, and sustainability. Key trends in India's regulatory reforms are ease of doing business. National Single Window System, NSWS, allows business to submit approvals and licenses through a single platform, reducing delays. Corporate governance and transparency. The Companies Act 2020 and recent updates have focused on enhancing corporate governance stance, such as improving the accountability of directors, etc. Taxation and digital economy. New taxation policies introduced to address the emerging digital economy, such as equalization levy on digital advertising services, aimed at ensuring that digital giants such as Google, Amazon, and Facebook pay their share of taxes in India. Faceless assessment scheme has reduced human discretion and minimized corruption. Labor and employment laws. India has introduced a slew of reforms in labor laws aiming to balance employer flexibility and employee rights. Foreign direct investment policy, FDI, reforms like insolvency and bankruptcy code have brought in a more predictable framework for resolving distressed companies, making FDI more secure and appealing. Financial reforms and digitization. National Financial Literacy Mission, NFLM, seeks to increase financial literacy across India, driving corporate growth by expanding consumer participation in the formal economy. Green and sustainable reforms. National Action Plan on Climate Change aims to promote clean energy as sustainable practices within the corporate sector. Companies focusing on these practices are likely to enjoy financial incentives and enhanced credit in the market. The Digital Infrastructure and Data Protection Act 2023 reforms around data privacy, giving individuals more control over their data while holding corporations accountability for breaches and misuse. And I would like to talk that the Right to Information Act 2005 was one of the best legislation. It has brought transparency in the government functioning with the motto, more informed citizens have access to information from the public authority and makes the government and its function more accountable and responsible. There are 4 pillars for the Right to Information Act: participation, transparency, legitimacy, and responsiveness. Supreme Court of India has passed order in December 2023 to provide hybrid mode of hearing, making lives of petitioners more comfortable to attend inquiry from the district's headquarters. There is further direction that the petitioners should be in a position to file 6-month petitions through online mode, including the prescribed payment. Section 4 deals with the obligations of public authority, and order has been passed that more information must be placed on their website, and CIC/Information Commissioners have been asked to monitor the aspect. Whole idea is to get maximum information from the government on digital platform. If this RTI Act is used effectively and its area can be expanded to other sectors wherever there is the stake of government, that will help the public in a big way. And we have been handling those petitions. We see that kind of information people are sharing and is being used on a day-to-day basis. It has really made the life of every citizen very, very comfortable. And so I can simply say that the regulatory reforms currently taking place in India are poised to serve as powerful catalyst for corporate growth. India is positioning itself to not only to sustain its rapid growth, but also to become global hub for investment, innovation, and sustainable business practice in the years to come. Thank you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Shakil Bhai. Thank you for your experience in the as an information commission. Will definitely give new direction because you have a vast experience working in Indian government. Thank you very much for your kind words. Now I will request Mukul Saran Mathur. He is additional member Railway Board. He is person who has done tremendously new things in railway. So what is his call on infrastructure and other things, and what he thinks that future belongs to this? What changes required? Over to you, Mukul.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Good afternoon, Pawan, and congratulations for this 20th webinar and release of your brochure on the occasion. Being a government department, I think regulation, when I speak, there are 2 aspects to it. One is what is required from the state utility or a department like railways, why this regulation is required, what is the need for regulation. And secondly, so there are 2 aspects when we say the regulation. One is that the private investment that the railways is seeking in terms of private investments that the railways is seeking in terms of, say, building infrastructure or procurement of rolling stock, a lot of world-class stations which are good. Of the regulation that we want to give a comfort to the private sector that when they are dealing with a department or a government utility, that a fair treatment will be given to them. Second is you need to set tariffs, you need to do price discovery, you need to have setting standards as an organization, but that's also a role of a regulator. But here in a monopolistic situation, I would say the railways is drawing power basically from the Railway Act. And there are certain restrictions within the Railway Act that doesn't allow you to do regulatory, provide, I would say, a very, very strong regulatory framework. For example, when we speak about the tariff, now the tariff setting, it's a power of the central government to actually fix the tariff. It is not, the regulator cannot fix the tariff. You cannot go into the details of the tariff exercises because that is mandated for the government to undertake. In fact, 2018, the railways had brought out a cabinet note, which was approved by the cabinet also, for an organization which was called as the Rail Development Authority. And that note and the approval provided that there will be an organization which will undertake some of the economic, I would say, functions in terms of price discovery, in terms of that brings out details about how the tariffs need to be set, how the benchmarking studies have to be done so that you are able to provide the right kind of a services. Now, so somehow that could not materialize. It is yet to be set up. But the demand from the private sector has always been in terms of wherever the private investments are coming in. Railways have been experimenting with private investment way back, right from 2000, I would say 2002, when this mineral and port connectivity works were done. There were concession agreements prepared by the government. We followed those concession agreements. But in all the concession agreements, the monopolistic power of the government was there. That means the interpretation power within the agreement was always with the government. Now that was something which was not a very preferable mode in terms of when you talk about a fair kind of a treatment.
Recording in progress.
There have been arbitration cases also in the railways in some of these concession agreements. And I feel that moving ahead, the requirement is that within the government also, when we're looking back on those concession agreements, that need to strengthen the legal regime within the government itself. My experience with the private sector has been that they are far ahead in terms of the compliances as different to the government, and there is a need for having looking at the whole structure of the legal framework in which the government is functioning. Second aspect is, if you look at setting standards. Now, the setting standards is basically the role that the regulator functions. These are being provided through the rule-setting power of the government, which is provided under the Railway Act. For example, when we develop, say, world-class stations, we can lay down that what kind of green norms have to be followed, and that is being done mostly now with the world-class stations coming up. They are green buildings where we have mandated that a certification process have to be done by independent rating agency for some kind of a green emissions. When we are manufacturing locomotives,
Yes, sir.
stock or locomotives. Now, as a government, you are conscious of, you don't need a regulation in terms of
fees outstanding
my personal view. Say nobody asked the railways to go in 100% electrification because they realized that perhaps the diesel is not a very optimum route and slowly shifted to the electrification mode. And they have completely, I think this is the last year where we will complete 100% of the electrification. Second is when we are procuring the rolling stock, like locomotives, we are going in for more efficient transmission system of the locomotives, which are more energy efficient. There are locomotives which actually feed while moving. They're generating power and feeding to the overall grid, which is called basically the regenerative braking systems. So whenever you are applying the brakes, the power is actually fed into the power generating systems. So those kind of locomotives are being used largely now, and slowly the population is going up. In Vande Bharat manufacturing, which is again initial Vande Bharat that came up, that was basically manufactured locally by the integral coach factory of the railways. There also we were adopting more of the energy efficient systems. The production units are mandated to adopt green rating now. They are going in for more of sustainable. However, in terms of the project implementation, now the Railway Act is very, very strong in terms of the how the linear projects have to be done. See, whenever Railways is going for the external funded projects, there is a need for going in for sustainable and environmental and social studies to be conducted. Although in the conventional railway projects, say for example, building a railway line, we never used to do that because the power of the Railway Act gives you enough that as a linear project you have enormous power to do the linear projects, and that is a priority over the other acts. So that means that we were able to build a rail line through the forest area. Of course, now it is a big challenge in terms of environment, whether we can do or not. But these environmental and social considerations are a very key issues in terms of undertaking the linear projects of the railway lines. But what I'm saying is that the private sector, today the budget size, if you look at the budget size, the capital budget of the central government is roughly around 11 lakh crores. And 50% of this expenditure is being done on two sectors. One is the railways and second is the roadways. Now these two sectors combined, railway itself is consuming say around 2.6 lakh crores annually. Now all this budgetary into the capital projects is where the private sector is coming into the picture. Now, as a government, if what the theme was, if I mandate today, and it is being done in terms of locomotives, in terms of rolling stock, but in the linear projects, you are doing for world-class stations. But as far as for the linear projects also, if you are able to do the environmental or sustainable kind of norms, it will be a game changer and give a fillip to the industry. By 2030, railways have mandated that they are going to achieve a carbon neutral positions, and we are moving towards that not only in terms of energy. Slowly, if you look at the stations, they are moving into the LED kind of lightings. Locomotives I have talked about. Similarly, the green emissions norms are being adopted in terms of station building. Also, when you talk about regulatory framework in terms of say accessibility at stations. Now, there's already, as a government, it is mandated. There are different rules being prescribed. The Social Justice Ministry has also prescribed the rules in terms of how the disabled person have to be provided certain facilities, and railways is not an exception. We have to build which are basically compliant to those kind of standards.
Okay.
In a nutshell, what I want to say is that certain things in terms of setting standards, setting tariffs is fine. That's as an organization, you're already doing it. But what the future lies is wherever the private investment for providing a comfort, you need to move ahead in terms of providing a framework. We have provided a model concession agreement for almost everything. But still the private sector in terms of dispute resolution mechanisms and also in terms of interpretations of these agreements will need a comfort that they will have a fair play in terms of dealing with it.
Yes.
That is something which I am hopeful that perhaps coming time there has to be and there will be such kind of a system and organization, because globally, if you see today we are one operator.
Okay.
Europe, where you have multiple operators, multiple operation regime. You need to have a regulator in terms of dealing with the tariff issues, you deal with the timing issues, you deal with path issues. So these will all become very crucial issues to deal with as we move ahead on the privatization, not privatization, but more services, private services will come into being. So I think with this, I'll just sum up. Thank you for asking me to join.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mukul. Railway is a very interesting topic for all of us. And the way you are mentioning railway is doing so many great things, carbon neutral up to 30. That's a big thing because we are the biggest, one of the biggest in the world. Okay. So now next is that we have to discuss about the various things on Companies Act the changes. Another madam is dropped. She will join just now. So I will request Anita Shah madam. She has joined. She's joint secretary of MCA and looking after various things. Madam, over to you, Anita madam.
Am I audible?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yeah, 1 second. I think there's some problem in the video. Could you go to the next speaker? I'll just join back.
Okay. Okay, madam. Okay.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Amarjit sir. Yeah, madam. It's okay. You can speak, madam.
All right. A very good afternoon to all of you. All of you here online. It's indeed a pleasure to be on this fora, talking to all of you here on the 200th webinar that you had on the catalyst for corporate growth. I'm really honored to be a part of this esteemed panel where you have a number of officers from various strata of the government setup. Besides being the joint secretary of MCA, I'm also the CEO, that is the Chief Executive Officer of the IEPF Authority, Investor Education Protection Fund Authority. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, madam, you are.
Yeah, right. So, what do we do here insofar as IEPF is concerned? Let me just introduce what IEPF is, and thereafter I'll be telling you about what we plan to do, what is the future of IEPF, and how we propose to strengthen the investor confidence through various reforms, some being regulatory, some being in other format as well. So, the IPFA was formed under Section 125(4) of the Companies Act, and our main job, our main business is basically to refund the claims and unclaimed shares and dividends which have been lying unclaimed for a very long period of time. Supposing a physical share over a period of say 7 years has been lying unclaimed, or even despite the fact that you have a DPT also which is lying unclaimed, those come to IPF, that is the Investor Education Protection Fund, and they are put into the uh, public account of the Consolidated Fund of India. And when a person makes a claim on the MCA 21 website under IPF 5 form, then we identify the credentials of the person along with the company. Company gives a e-verification report. Once the e-verification report comes to us, then we again do a verification of the credential, because many a times we find that though the company has given a positive verification report, then they ask us to withhold it, saying that probably it belongs to somebody else. Please hold on and do not send it across yet. So, so there are certain process changes which we were looking at over a period of time. That how do we hasten the process? What happens is, as of today, the rule position is that we have to give it within 60 days of time. Once we get the EVR, company is given 30 days to give us a EVR, which is again electronic on the MCA 21 website. And once the company gives us the EVR, thereafter we again take about 60 days to do the approvals of that. And thereafter we do the share transfer and the dividend transfer. Now, there have been for various reasons, for various legacy reasons, for reasons of manpower shortage, for reasons of difficulty in the rules, etc. There have been a lot of lag. We have not really been able to stick to the idealistic timeline of 60 days. I would call it idealistic because for 7 years, when the person is not claimed. Usually, as per the Limitation Act, he is considered to be not there anymore. Therefore, the process of verification is quite a lot. And then, being a government entity, it is our bounden duty to ensure that the money does not go to a wrong person. Therefore, we do a number of checks, despite the fact that the company has told us. We still continue to do the checks. We need to do the checks because ultimately the amount or the share is going from IPFA's account. So this had led to delays. There have been delays due to operational issues. Due to MCA 21, we went from version 2 to version 3, which had its own challenges. So that also, that being done, that is something we've recognized, and we were in fact looking at a proper process as to how do we improve the system. So we have in 2023 budget, 23 budget, the Honorable Finance Minister had announced an integrated portal for IPFA, and that is in the works. Now, why integrated portal for IPFA? Ideally, when you are having the MCA 21 system does not talk to the depositories and does not talk to the PFMS system from which the dividend payments are made. So these are three standalone systems. And as is the trend now, we need to integrate everything. There has to be a single source of truth. So for that purpose, we are looking at having a system which is completely integrated, and we are working towards that. And I'm hopeful that with that and a couple of more changes that we are looking at, bringing in automation into the system. So with that, we will be able to do way better than what we are doing right now. So this is one of the reforms that is proposed. The other one would be that we have of late simplified the requirements of certain documentation for transmission and loss cases. Up to 5 lakh rupees, we waived out a number of documents in line with SEBI. So with that, I'm sure the process for claiming the unclaimed shares and dividends would become way easier for the claimants. Thereafter, I will also be touching upon what are the enhanced investor awareness activities that we do. As I said, we are formed for two purposes, one being refund of unclaimed share and dividend, the other being creating awareness and investor protection. Investor protection was essentially meant to be for class action suits. So in case a investor wants to go for a class action suit, then the fund can be met from the IPF. So that's already available. But as of today, there has been no such case. So that's one opening that is available for protection of the investor. We also do investor awareness activities. In the investor awareness space, there are a number of players. Like you've got RBI, you've got SEBI, you've got each of the mutual fund. They have their investor protection fund, by which they do a lot of awareness. But what we realize is that the awareness that they do is only to that strata which is into the business of stocks and mutual funds. We need to touch the strata because of the government scheme, the direct benefit transfer. A lot of money is going down to the real needy and to the common man. So suddenly, when they're flushed with money coming from various schemes, it is we have noticed that it's very often easy for a person to get fooled. That when somebody tells them that give me the money that you got, say 5 lakhs or something that you got, I'll double it and give it back to you. So our objective is to make such people aware that do not go by this. Don't trust anybody and everybody. Go through the fine line. Go through the through the fine print. Is money doesn't come free. There are no free lunches. So these are the kind of investor awareness initiatives that we take. So for this purpose, we've had a number of Niveshak series of awareness activities. Like we've got a Niveshak Didi where we have co-partnered with IPPB, Indian Postal Payment Bank, in order to have where we have a village level this Gramin Dak Sevak, who is a woman, and she collects 50 other women and she gives them some talk on how to protect their money, how to take care and financial literacy, how to budget, how they need to open an account. There should be a jam because of the jam trinity that has come out and the CPI that has come out, how they can protect their fund. So this is for the Niveshak Didi, is for the women. That's one activity that we've done. In fact, it was very pleasant for us to know that the Honorable Prime Minister had tweeted about our first ever floating financial literacy program which was held in Srinagar in November 22. Thereafter, we also have something known as Niveshak Sarathi, which are those big vans which have multi language, and it's a multimedia kind of a thing where we play films, we make people play small games. We take first before the process, before we have this investor camp, and after we have the investor camp, we also take a test of these people to see how much they've learned. And here the it's everybody, it is for everybody, it's not just for one or two people, or it's not for women centric, this is for everybody. Then we also have certain programs we also have certain programs for children, where we are now partnered with akka to bring about financial literacy in schools. So this is another thing we are looking at, because we want to catch them young. We are also having financial literacy for colleges, which we are looking at. Then another thing that we are looking at is simplification of the claim processes. There is a lot of comments on how the claim process is difficult. We are trying to reduce the number of documentation required. We are trying to bring in AI in order to assess the claims and any kind of fraud that's in process. And we would be also integrating the databases, as I've already told you. This is insofar as the claim process is concerned. And we have been requesting people time and again through our awareness messages to go in for KYC, go in for nomination, so that these kind of dormant accounts, etc., do not arise at all. So these are some of the areas that we are looking at, and we hope to be successful in this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Charita Madam. You have given the what IPEF is doing and what is your plan in using AI and reducing document is a really help to the investor, and it will definitely solve this. Thank you very much. Thank you. Before going to this, we have to Ankit, Sanchit, can you just we are launching our new book on valuation and the website on valuation. So I will request Sanchit to do the needful.
Thank you so much, sir. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining on this 200th webinar. And we are proud to announce the release of the third edition of our valuation book this year. Please unveil the curtain, admin. This edition is a comprehensive guide which is meticulously crafted to serve as an indispensable resource for professionals and enthusiasts in the valuation field. In this edition, you will find a detailed exploration of the valuation principles, processes, and methodologies, an in-depth analysis of legal requirements of valuations in India, insights into the judicial pronouncements on valuations by Indian court, offering clarity and precedent, a focused section unraveling the updates in the company's registered valuers valuation rules 2017 and alignment with the latest international valuation standards set by the IFSCA, ensuring global relevance. This book stands as a testament to our commitment to advancing knowledge and providing clarity in the ever-evolving world of valuation. Whether you are a seasoned professional or just starting your journey, this edition promises to be a valuable companion for your valuation journey.
Thank you, Sanchit. Now you have a website also.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We will do. Yeah. Please do.
Okay. So we have also launched a valuation platform, which is a comprehensive solution that transforms how business approach valuation. As your trusted valuation partner, we would launch our dedicated valuation website, So it's www.corporatevaluations.in. We specialize in providing top-tier valuation-related services within the regulatory, transaction, and financial reporting needs. So whether it's comprehensive valuation services, evaluating companies' worth and assets, valuing equity and startups, and navigating the complex landscapes of the regulatory valuation. What really sets us apart is the ability to cater valuation across all the asset classes of securities and financial assets, plant and machinery, and land and building. But that's not all. We have also created a knowledge hub to empower professionals and students alike with packed valuable resources. There's also a game changer involved, which is a valuation tool, which is known as the True Worth Valuation Calculator, which allows you to calculate the value of your company within just a few clicks and minutes. This will help you evaluate your company using different methodologies and relevant multiples. I would want to make our mission very clear to simplify and revolutionize the world of valuation. With our comprehensive services, robust knowledge, and innovative tool, we aim to make valuation accessible and insightful for everyone. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Let's redefine the way we approach corporate valuations together.
Thank you, Sanchit. Thank you very much for launching the book and the valuation book. Now, I will request Amajit sir to say his point of view. He's a whole-time member of SEBI, and he has an experience of more than 30 years in securities market. And his experience from different area in security law is tremendous. He is one of the very learned person in this SEBI. I'll request Amajit sir to say things that what you see in future, what will happen.
Yeah, Pawan, thank you very much. Just give me a minute. I'm just sorting out a little technical issue here. Why is this coming? Okay. Pawan, am I audible and visible?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you're audible and visual both, sir. You can
all right. Good. Thanks. Then I'll go ahead. So good afternoon, everyone. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be a part of this virtual event. I compliment Pawan Corporate Professionals and his team for achieving this very important milestone of the 200th webinar. I recall he always reaches out, and he never lets me say no. So in the past also, I have had the pleasure of attending some of these events. I also would like to compliment Pawan and his team and corporate professionals for keeping this whole initiative, of the knowledge sharing and also importantly the debate in the area of corporate governance very alive and high on its agenda. In fact, I believe, Pawan, you started these events around COVID.
Yes, sir.
While COVID has gone, I'm glad you kept up this tradition. It is so very convenient that to connect, through a webinar mode.
Yes, sir.
So today's topic for this webinar, it very clearly underscores the role that regulators can play in driving growth and innovation. So I thought I'll very briefly talk about some of our recent SEBI initiatives, primarily aimed at development of the securities market, and also we've done a lot of work in the area of improving ease of investing, ease of doing business in the market. So maybe I'll touch upon some of those initiatives as well, and I'll be a little brief. But before I get to the initiatives taken by SEBI, let me do a very quick snapshot of the fantastic growth that our markets have witnessed in the recent years. And all of you are, a learned audience here, you would already know, but nonetheless, it helps to set the context. So market cap has surged threefold in the past 5 years to USD 5.4 trillion. the unique investor base with NSE has crossed 10 crore mark. AUM of the mutual fund industry is been, rising at a very phenomenal pace. It has increased to an unprecedented high of INR 68 trillion, which is roughly USD 800 odd billion as on November 2024, which is a fantastic increase of over 2.5 times in the past 5 years. Primary markets have also done very well. We've witnessed a record growth. In fact, some of the other markets have not been doing so well on the primary market side. But in our case, we've seen a variety of companies, including technology startups, also getting listed in our markets. Another very important achievement in the last couple of years has been that India has been included in the global bond indices. Having noted some of these remarkable milestones, I must also add that there is no room for complacency. We still have a long way to go. And just one indicator I would like to mention, as per the reports, over 60 crore PAN numbers have been linked with Aadhaar. This represents a vast untapped potential for inclusion, for enhancing inclusion in the securities market. Let me now talk about some of our recent policy measures. As more and more investors and more intermediaries participate in the market, efficient and sustained capital formation, it will continue to be a high priority for SEBI. So let me just note some of the important initiatives which have further reformed the market in many ways. So if I can pick maybe rights issue. So we've reduced the timelines of rights issue in a very substantial manner over the last year or so. So now I believe it is only 23 working days from the date of issuer's board meeting where the right issue is approved, as against average timeline of more than 300 days earlier. More flexibility has been brought in for allotment to specific investors, and further rationalization of disclosures in the letter of offer has also been brought about. This is as far as the rights issues are concerned. Listing timeline, again, as you would know, for IPOs has been reduced to 3 days, which used to be previously 6 days. Issuers are receiving their funds faster, and investors also receive their securities faster as a result of this reform. So that brings in more efficiency in the system. In the secondary market, again, very notable achievement of the last couple of years has been moving towards shorter settlement cycle. In fact, we are one of the few jurisdictions where very seamlessly we move to T+1 for settlement. And that is almost 2 years now. And now we have an optional T+0 settlement cycle for a limited number of stocks. Let me briefly touch about the new products, some of the new products that we are bringing in. So one important item there is our notification of a specialized investment fund that seeks to provide investors with a regulated investment product featuring higher risk-taking capabilities and a higher ticket size. So the idea is, if you are an investor, you don't want to go to the PMS route where the thresholds are high. At the same time, you don't want to stick to a very low threshold within the mutual fund space. So you are somewhere in between. So there can we have a product which promises more returns? Of course, it comes with more risk as well. So that is one recent initiative that we've taken. And at the other extreme, we are also working on introducing low ticket SIP, low ticket as low as 250 rupees. That's another exciting product for enhancing financial inclusion. On the infrastructure financing side, you all know we have REITs, InvITs, and more recently the SM REIT framework, a small and medium REIT framework. To my mind, it is a very, very promising product. And also on the sustainability side, we have done considerable work in the area of sustainability bonds. We call them green bonds, yellow bond, blue bonds, and so on. On ease of doing business, this agenda we've taken very seriously across various segments of the market. So simplification and rationalization, this is an ongoing process. So last year we had constituted 16 working groups to recommend simplification of various SEBI regulations. 401 recommendations, 401 recommendations were received from the working groups, of which 65% have been accepted and 22% are under consideration. Some of the areas of relaxations include ESG disclosures for the value chain. In fact, on this item, just 2 days back, our board approved certain relaxations. Provisions relating to corporate governance norms for high value debt listed entities. Skin in the game requirements. Again, just few days back, 2 days back, our board has approved relaxations on the skin in the game requirement for employees of asset management companies. As I said, I'll be brief, so I would stick to my promise, and let me conclude by just making a couple of observations. Our journey in the securities market of our country has been very, very remarkable. As we move forward, our commitment to the basic principles of governance, integrity, and fostering trust in the market participants, this will continue to remain critical for us. So let me conclude by saying that the future belongs to those who prepare for it today, and let us continue to work together. So, we do appreciate the contribution made by all stakeholders in the development of our securities market. So let's continue to work together to build a robust, transparent, and efficient market ecosystem that better serves the needs of the society, the economy, and the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amarjit sir. You have rightly given the correct picture of the Indian equity market. And yesterday I was reading one news that the heading was COVID has created a one habit in Indians. So I was thinking some negative habit. Then I came to know this is mentioning about the SIP investment. So people are investing in SIP that COVID has created the habit to everybody. So that's why the number of accounts and number of investment is growing up. No doubt, under your leadership and other SEBI officials, SEBI is really doing great job, and we are a very robust market in the capital market, and more capitalist formation is taking place. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I will request Mr. Sundaresan. He is Executive Director of SEBI, and interestingly, he's looking after nowadays the cybersecurity. So, as a regulator and working in cybersecurity's area also, other than his area of operation, I will request Sundaresan sir to speak about the future and what other things required.
Good evening, Mr. Pawan and the team of corporate professionals. It is a very memorable event for all of you because this is the 200th seminar you are conducting, and as Mr. Amarjit already said that it's not a easy thing to sustain anything which one begins, and you have definitely shown the resilience in which was targeting during COVID time, but you have shown such a wonderful resilience in continuing it. As he said about the Indian securities market, as the market also stood its resilience and sustained the one-way traffic of going higher and higher. You have equally proved your competence with your team of continuing this exercise without any disruption. So that shows the commitment you and your team have, in the pursuit of sharing of knowledge. Because I have been one of the many beneficiaries of this program, as a speaker, as well as a participant on multiple occasions on varied topics. Whether it is governance, whether it is valuation, whether it is how to write a will, or I mean, it all, it's not that it's only concerned with the securities market, but throughout, how to one should live, whether it is writing a will or what is succession planning, all those things, irrespective of whether it is related to financial market, securities market, or whatever it is. So the way you have been, using this seminar to impart this type of knowledge, and that too, without charging any fees from the participants, because nowadays when you go to see YouTube or any other social media channel, they will say that it is free, and they will say first you register, but after a session they will say you pay this amount and that amount, then only you can get the what you call knowledge getting. But you are so kind, and what you call in offering this knowledge and sharing it at free of cost. So that shows your real interest in what you call making people aware of on various subjects. So having said that, as Mr. Amarjit said, the market has grown like anything, unprecedented. People who have been there, for more than 2 decades in this market, after 2008, whoever has come into the market in the last 15 years, nobody has seen this type of growth, whether it is in the index, whether it is in the mutual fund correction, or whatever parameter you take. We have grown, rather outgrown even our own expectations and even our vision. But whatever we have expected, for example, you all may be aware that as far as STT correction is concerned, government has already crossed the target 2 months back, what they estimated to correct in the full year. So you can imagine, even the best of people who are making this budget for the country is not able to estimate the growth prospects in the securities market. So having said that, I would like to speak about what is the reason for all this what you call unexpected and substantial growth. It is because of technological adoption by the participants. So we all are navigating through very increasingly digital world, especially the financial sector has faced unprecedented, what you call adoption of technology. So today, whether it is mutual fund investment, whether it is a trading system, whether it is settlement, people just don't spend time on any paper or anything. Everything is completely digital, and because of that, the people are, especially the Gen Z, whatever you call them, and also the people who are just passing out of college or just starting, yearning, they all are so fascinated with this fast-moving world, where everybody gets ordering in Swiggy or Zomato and getting the delivery in less than 5 minutes. So this market has actually provided, the entire securities market has provided that type of ecosystem where people can trade, people can make transactions just like that by using the mobile. So it has attracted more people. Yes. What is the risk with that? See, any development which takes place, it carries its own risk. We need to be aware of that. So, as far as I am concerned, whether I am in charge of technology department or not, being a individual who is adopting technology for all the purposes, whether you pay electricity bill, whether you transfer money to somebody, whether you go to buy something and pay 15 rupees to a small transaction, you are using Google Pay or a UPI payment or a Paytm, whatever it is, we have simply forgotten using the paper or the coin. We are just using digital. Now, what is the risk in that? Once upon a time, maybe about 10 years back or 20 years back, people were talking about, business risk, operational risk. Then subsequently, when SEBI started writing too many regulations for regulating the market, then people said it is regulatory and compliance risk. Then subsequently, then people were talking about technology risk. But today, I feel that especially having seen few instances in the last 6 to 8 months, and more particularly in Mumbai itself in the last 3 days, couple of incidents taking place, cyber risk has assumed the maximum among all the risks. Because if there is a cyber attack, it is not only the individual or the entity which gets affected, but because we are all interconnected. Today, no one can do any transaction in isolation. So the moment one entity gets affected due to some cyber attack, the entire ecosystem is likely to get affected. Now, because it's all interdependent. So the moment somebody tries to sneaking into one system, there is a possibility and there is a every chance that he can reach out to any other any other entity in the ecosystem and create a havoc to the entire system. And we are also so used to keeping digital records, and we have simply forgotten keeping any paper trail or anything. So today, if anything goes wrong, we really don't know where is our money and what has happened to that. Because people just don't know. Nobody keeps any paper today, no passbook of the bank, no DMAX statement. Everything we say we have seen in email, we store it in somewhere. So we have gone digital. Therefore, according to me, one has to be very careful in ensuring that cyber security is taken care of. Just to say how important it is and the way the world is looking at. According to Gartner's estimates, roughly about 212 billion US dollar is being spent annually on cyber security in the entire ecosystem in the world. Imagine the amount which we are spending. But despite that, what is the result of that? There is fourfold increase in reported cyber incidents in India since 2019. So in the last 5 years, the incidents which is taking place is also equally increasing. Similarly, the BSFI sector increases its annual spending on cyber security by 12% year on year from 2019 to 2026. Imagine if you have been spending 100 rupees in 2019, just multiplied by 12. Then despite that, what is the result? As per the Global Stability Report, the financial sector is the highly exposed to cyber risk, with nearly 1/5 of all cyber incidents affecting financial firms. So one hand, people are spending more money on cyber, but equally, the attackers are also becoming more smarter and then accordingly increasing their attacks. Now, let us come to our own government, what it is doing. 90%, there is 90% increase in the allocation of cyber security projects in the union budget 24-25. So the government is also very much aware and they have increased their budgeted outlay by 90%. But then, what is the other side of the story? There is 1.5 million cyber security incidents reported in 2023. Imagine this is all over the country. So the point is that despite investing money, there are chances of being attacked. So for organizations, it is not merely possible to over-invest in strengthening the cyber security preparedness. So what I'm trying to say is, one is protection, second is recovery. Now, whatever money you spend is only for the purpose of protection. Despite that, whatever incidents which are taking place in the last 8 months or 1 year, cyber attacks bound to take place. Therefore, I feel our focus should be more on recovery rather than more on protection. That does not mean we should not protect our data or infrastructure. One hand, it is protection, but I feel we need to shift our focus towards recovery as well. Because if we simply rely that I am resilient, it is like falling sick. The moment, we all expect that the heart attack will not come to me, but it will come only to my neighbor. So when it comes, will you be able to manage? That is why we all take Mediclaim policy. Not that we are going to visit the hospital or get admitted tomorrow. But why do we take, in case we get admitted, how will you survive? So the same way, as far as protection of data and the infrastructure is concerned, one need to be very careful. Therefore, how you will recover fast, even if there is an attack, is to be more focused on that. So, what I would like to say is, in this context of new mantra for the cyber preparedness goes like this. The old saying is, sharing is caring. But in the cyberspace, the new saying is withholding is a virtue. Similarly, loose lips sink ships. But in the new saying, it is data leak which sink the ships. Third one, prevention is better than cure, is the old saying. But the new saying is assume breach and prepare for response and recovery. Then, the best proof of love is trust. We always say we must trust people, we must trust people. But in cyberspace, zero trust is a security philosophy that assumes everyone is a potential threat. Then, human resources are organizations' biggest strength. That is the old saying. But in the new saying in cyberspace, human resources can become the weakest link in cyber preparedness. The next one, AI will shape future technology. This is what we were talking about few years back. But today, AI-driven cyber attacks to shape future cyber incidents. Now, the last but not the least, what is certain we all know, taxes and debt are certain. That is the old saying. But today, taxes, debt, and cyber attack will be the new saying. Therefore, we need to prepare. SEBI has been coming out with various, what you call mechanisms, and we have come out with a very detailed circular about 4 months back, how to have cyber security and cyber resilience framework. People have to comply with that in their own interest, because it is not only protecting oneself, but also protecting the ecosystem. Otherwise, as I said, it will have a cascading effect. And whatever Mr. Amarjit said, all the developments, all the glory we got, all will get nullified in no time. So what I would like to say and conclude is that, what Robert Frost said many years back, and the miles to go before I sleep. That is what Robert Frost said. But what I feel is, and miles to go before we are cyber safe. So we need to travel a lot of miles to claim ourselves cyber safe. With this, I would like to thank once again Pawan and his team for wonderfully conducting this seminar. And I'm personally thankful to Pawan for inviting me in as many seminars as possible and giving me the opportunity to share. Because he calls me and tells me to share, I need to expand my knowledge by preparing all these things. If these things don't come instantaneously, one has to take efforts to collect all this information to share. So I thank you very much once again. And I wish all the success for you to continue with this knowledge sharing exercise. Thank you, sir. And
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sudarshan sir. You have rightly pointing out the new definition of various things. It's very interesting. Now, another bright person from SEBI, Mr. Ali, who is looking after, he's the executive director of SEBI, looking after the surveillance and insider trading things and various other things. Over to you, Ali, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Very good evening. I would like to thank Mr. Pawan for inviting me to the 200th seminar. And I would also like to congratulate the corporate professional team for their painstaking journey. I'm saying painstaking journey because to organize a half-an-hour program requires a lot of efforts, and he has been putting this for almost every Friday. He's having this program. So thank you very much. And it's almost 4 years now. I was just thinking while the other speakers were speaking, so I thought, let me put the work done by corporate professional by a divine saying. And what Mr. Pawan Vijay and his team is doing says that one who is aware, knowledgeable about his time is not attacked by confusion. So, sir, your team, what he's doing is trying to make our market knowledgeable and aware of the time. So, by this, we will not be attacked by confusion. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank you on behalf of my team also, because you are very happy to host us for some of our consultation paper, and you have given us a good feedback. Thank you very much. I'll just take a few minutes. I'll not take much of your time. The topic which was that unveiling the next wave of regulatory reform. So I was just thinking next wave. Then I remembered a great philosopher saying the only constant in life is change. And waves are there throughout the day. It only depends which is the height, when it is a high tide or it's a low tide. So I'll just take 2 points on this. The first is about SEBI PIT regulation trading plan. which corporate professional was very much involved with us in the amendment in the consultation paper. And this has been amended 3 months back. And this is related to trading plan for those individuals in the company who are having perpetual UPSI, unpublished price sensitive information. So this amendment has come 3 months back and it has been implemented. I know I don't want to go into details of the trading plan, but as we are saying, what is the next tide? What is the new thing which will come in the future in 2025? So trading plan, we hope that it will be a game-changing plan, which after the amendment has brought a lot of clarity, has brought a lot of efficacy in the system. I understand many people who are in the seminar would not agree with me. And everybody has right not to agree. But if you see from the angle of SEBI, we have the 3 mandate of investors protection, development of securities market, and regulating the market. So we have tried our best that to fit this trading plan, the amendment in the trading plan, to take care of all the 3 aspects of the vision of SEBI and the pre-emblem of SEBI. So anyway, we will see in 2025 how this works up. But there's one more saying, the ink has not dried up. So to the participant in the seminar and even to corporate professional, we are open for any suggestions. Let us implement for a few days, few months, and see if there are any problems in implementing trading plan. As I said, the ink has not dried up. We will be happy to take care of and to deal with it. This is one point. Second point, which I feel would be a game changer in 2025, would be the latest amendment, which you would have seen after SEBI board's meeting in the press release, that is including events and information in the illustrative list of UPSI. Why this amendment, And again, Mr. Pawan, thank you very much. I received your the collation of whatever comments had come in your seminar. Thank you very much. It was very helpful for us. So the question is, why this amendment? So we have not amended the definition of UPSI, but we have added the illustrative list of UPSI. There were 5 items for them. We have added another 11. So this was to bring some clarity and uniformity in the compliance in the ecosystem. And, this definition has been borrowed from the clauses of LODR. And prima facie, when people have seen the press release, they feel कि SEBI ने हम पर और बोझा डाल दिया, अभी और compliance करना पड़ेगा. This is a prima facie thing. But sorry, it is not so, because these events and other things were already embedded in the regulation. But when we did a study, we found that the corporates, I'm not saying they were doing intentionally, but unintentionally also they were not earmarking some of the events and information as UPSI. So to go further, we thought it is better that this is taken care. So this amendments were brought. So please look at it from that angle. Then you will find that there is a merit. In fact, I would see that corporates would be very happy because we have made their life very easy. We have brought in threshold from the LODR, and we have given some exemption for SDD and trading window closure. So look at it from that angle, and definitely this will be a game changer in 2025. I will not take more time. Again, congratulations, corporate professional team. And I wish all the best for their future endeavors and seminars, and hope to see another mark of 300 very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ari sir, for your kind word. And we will committed to do the best for this. Now, I know the time has come now for income tax things, because after the SEBI, the income tax is also very essential part. And Meeta is there and she has to catch a flight. So I will request first Meeta, then Ruchika, and then Amit. Okay. So Meeta, please tell about your future aspects of this. In case Meeta is not there, the Ruchika, you are here. You can start. Meeta can join later. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Pawan. Thank you, corporate professionals, for having me on this webinar, the 200th webinar. It is my first occasion to be addressing this erudite August audience. Thank you for having this. I think it's a very good exchange of information that corporate professionals has been doing over the past 4 years. The topics that Pawan and I discussed that I need to probably take up and discuss here are two. The firstly, the one on angel tax, and the second one on green bonds. It's very interesting. The topic for today being catalyst for corporate growth, unveiling the next wave of regulatory reforms. So I think what we are focusing here, especially from the taxation side, is corporate growth. What the earlier speaker spoke about, Amarjeet Singh Ji, was future belongs to those who prepare for it today. I think that was just so well said. And whatever the taxation does is actually depends on what is the need of society and what is the need of the economy. And I'm happy to report that the angel tax, what we are talking about in the regulatory framework, has already been has already been done away with. It is in this last budget that the angel tax, which was actually causing, which am I being audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Carry on.
Yeah. Angel tax, which was actually introduced in 2012 and saw some modifications as we went along the way, was actually withdrawn in the budget of 2024. Angel tax, as most people are aware, is when income tax is levied on an unlisted company which issues shares to investors at a price higher than the market value. The whole concept there was that we should not have money laundering. We should not have cases where the activities of the companies are such that it can lead to trouble. So it was all thought to be stymied by getting the angel tax in place, and the year was 2012. But as we went along, the country has seen a large number of unicorns. In fact, I think in COVID times, India outdid itself in having unicorns. And unicorn, as everybody here is aware, are the billion-dollar valuation companies. These saw a lot of money, a lot of investments by venture capital, by angel investors coming in. And in 2021, we had 45 unicorns. In 2022, we had 22 unicorns. But in 23, we saw the figure fall down to 2. And in 2024, it is in the past 9 months still only about 6. The idea was to revive the investment into all the startups which can one day become unicorns. And why it was very important that when we have a startup economy, it promotes entrepreneurship. If there is investment along the line, it has many multiplier effects. There is innovation with the youngsters from technology, from easy delivery. The startup economy does well, and this also leads to good employment. The Prime Minister has also said that everybody should not be just looking for employment. We must actually have an economy which is robust and provides opportunities beyond just a structured employment system. So I think with this in mind, the angel tax system was done away with 2024. There had been a loosening after 2012 in 2019 when DPIIT could, under certain conditions, actually allow funds to come in from various investors. But now I think in the new regulatory framework, with having done away with the income tax provisions, I think there's no angel tax, which was to be 30.9% earlier. It was like excessively high. So 1/3 of the difference in the valuation that is coming up from the fair market value, which was determined as per the income tax rules, whatever money was coming in that was higher, about 1/3 of it was going as tax collections. This was reducing the amount of money which was actually going to the entrepreneur who had set up the business. So to ease that, and what we talk about, the Prime Minister talks about the ease of doing business, this taxation has been done away with. But here I would also like to sound out a bit of caution while the angel tax has been done away with, all the other provisions of income tax still prevail on any kind of investments that are coming in. If investments are seen to be coming in into shell companies, or the transactions that are being done are such which are not legal in nature, or the kind of transactions which need further scrutiny, all the other provisions of income tax shall apply. It is only that infusion of funds by especially credible sources like venture capitalists, angel investors, etc., that which was bona fide and yet was attracting taxation, that has been what has been done away with. I think it's a very important and a very encouraging step. It should only be used in a bona fide fashion by all the startup economy, or the valuations should boom, and India should produce more and more unicorn. And the figures that we are looking at today, that we have so far, we have raised about US dollars 100 billion in the unicorns. And even in fact, when we look at 2023, which was not a very strong year, we saw about US dollars 7.2 billion which had come into the country. And in 2024, in the first 9 months alone, we have seen US dollars $8.7 billion which have come in. So if we are talking good, robust money coming in, I think it is only correct that angel tax has been done away with, but it should not be used as a loophole. I think it is the responsibility of the economy, of the society, and of the startups to use this in a bona fide fashion and carry on. I hope that made some sense to the audience here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Which I would just like to give a short, brief talk on, and this is on the taxation of green bonds. Why are green bonds so important, and what is the relevance of green bonds? If we trace it back, it is actually in the Paris Agreement under the UNFCCC. India has its nationally determined contributions that it had established for itself. And in the Glasgow Conference of Parties, COP26, the Prime Minister laid out the Panchamrit, which also said how India would actually reduce and be more socially, reduce its emissions, its carbon emissions. And it also talked about the lifestyle for environment. The whole concept of life was introduced by the Prime Minister in the COP26. Taking this forward, and that was in 2021 when we had it in Glasgow. Taking that forward in the budget of 22-23, the Prime Minister talked about the sovereign green bonds. These would be bonds that would be something which would encourage investments into areas which would be towards efficiency, energy efficiency, which would be towards, I'll just talk about it. Yeah, these would be towards energy efficiency, towards reducing carbon emissions, for climate resilience of adaptation and mitigation, and meeting the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals 13 principles that were laid down in the Paris Agreement. In this backdrop, it is the international funding which has been discussed in every conference of parties. And in the recent one that was held in Azerbaijan, there was talk about that there should be at least $1.3 trillion till 2035 that should be devoted towards this. And there was talk about $300 billion that should come from the developed world to the developing world, should be about $300 billion. Now we are talking a lot of money for the good and for the cause of the country, of the earth as a whole. So therefore, it is very important that we have projects that actually work towards these particular objectives that the country has set for itself. In this regard, I must say that till the Department of Economic Affairs has set up the framework for sovereign green bonds. And so far, US dollars 21 billion have already been sort of put out there. That's 16,000 crore rupees. And by 2024, we are expecting another 10,000 crores that should be coming out in this fashion. But where we talk about the taxability of this, I must say that it's not really tax-free so far. It is very limited. it is only under section 80CCF that only 20,000 rupees for individuals and HUFs, if you put it towards certain infrastructure bonds, and those infrastructure bonds are as notified under 80CCF, will you get only 20,000 rupees off from your tax. Or if the income of that is declared to be an exempt income under section 1015, it is a notified scheme. Only in that case it would be called a green bond. Now we have to be sort of vigilant, because this is a very important exercise and it is ongoing and continuous. If the country is continuously releasing these green bonds, either by the government or by NBFCs or by infrastructure companies, they will get notified under 1015 and under 80CCF. And this would be a possibility for certain tax exemptions or for the income to be called exempt. This is only from the taxation side. But I just want to say that when we talk about corporate growth, there's going to be a lot of potential for corporate growth on the green economy side. It's a huge potential, hugely exciting. And I don't think exemptions of tax are going to play such an important part. We also have some smaller exemptions which go towards meeting these goals. If you have solar projects, then you have exemptions under 80IA. There is possibility of accelerated depreciation, the regular depreciation, and then an additional 20% in accelerated depreciation. If you get your EVs, if you and I were to buy EVs, then in that particular case, it is actually a case of you could apply under 80EEB, but then you have to take a loan from a notified bank or an NBFC. Then you can qualify up to 1.5 lakh rupees interest under 80EEB. And as I've already said, 80CCF is only up to 20,000 rupees for that. 80JJA is if you were to look at biodegradable investments, that is another possibility. But as I said, these are very small as compared to the kind of funds and the kind of projects that we are looking at. So a lot of excitement in the sector of greening. And I just wish that people were to take this up as an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruchika. It's a very nice and detailed discussion on the green bond and the angel tax. Your knowledge on this aspect is superb. Thank you very much for joining. Now, I will request Meeta Singh because she has to take flight. And then after Amit Mohan Govil will speak. Meeta, are you there? She has gone to with his boss now, her boss. Now I will request Amit Mohan Govil to speak. Amit Mohan.
Yes, good evening, Pawan.
Yeah.
I am wanting my video to come on. It's not coming.
No problem, you can speak.
Yes, good evening, Pawan. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening, good evening.
Me this opportunity to bring me on this platform. I congratulate you on your 200th virtual seminar that you've been organizing since a long time, since in fact the beginning of COVID. And now this has culminated into the 200th episode. Your versatility, your perseverance in keeping on process has been amazing. It's an amazing journey. You brought so many speakers and so many participants onboarded this platform that it's incredible. You deserve congratulations for that, and my personal congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pawan, today I will be speaking about 2 or 3 aspects of the tax department. One, that you had given me some talking points regarding enhancing of the digital tax infrastructure in the tax department. So this journey has been an ongoing journey of the tax department. Specifically, the income tax department began this journey nearly 20 years ago. We used to have, if you remember, we used to have camps for filing of tax returns at Pragati Maidan to facilitate taxpayers to come and file their tax returns. Those tax returns were taken in and digitally entered. From that point in time, India has, built an infrastructure. The department has built an infrastructure where tax returns can be filed electronically, sitting from any place, any. Today, we have a world-class leading technology platform of the income tax department, wherein you can file your return from any place, and nearly 99% all tax returns. We had around 7.8 crore tax returns filed last year. They are all filed electronically on a digital platform. So not only on the filing part, we have taken giant steps towards processing of those returns. Those processings of returns used to take they used to take place over a long period of time. We have shortened that processing of returns, and now you have returns processed almost instantaneously. You file your return probably in the second day or the third, 3 working days. You have your return processed. After that, even your refund is credited to your bank account. So this entire life cycle of return filing has been made electronic. Even if there's a refund to you, it is credited directly into your bank account. So this process has been simplified for all taxpayers. And similarly, we started the process of 26AS form, where TDS credits, wherever TDS has been deducted, that credit was available to you on 26AS forms. Very recently, we have started putting additional information of TCS also on the TDS form 26AS. Plus, we have started putting information, any expenditure that you have incurred, which is linked through your PAN to your financial statement. And all this information is now available to the taxpayer so that he can file a proper tax return. There have been some advantages to this electronic filing of TDS, TCS, and expenditure statement, that there is more accurate filing of tax returns, plus the government revenue and government resources have increased, which can be taken towards development of infrastructure. So all these processes, part is selection of cases for scrutiny. So even on selection of cases for scrutiny, we used to have manual selection of cases. Later on, it was converted to computer-aided selection of scrutiny called scrutiny, which is called CAS. And today we have information-based selection of cases for scrutiny. So the taxpayer is given a seamless experience, and technology and business processes are used to provide taxpayer services to the taxpayer. Today, there is also, the department has gone into faceless assessment. So there is no question of any harassment for the taxpayer. He can, sitting within his home and within his business premises, fill up his tax return, get the return processed, receive refund in his bank account, and if he has filed his tax return correctly, and because now selection of scrutiny is based only on information, therefore he has the satisfaction of knowing that he won't suffer from any undue harassment. So there has been an adoption of business processes and technology for offering of taxpayer services. There are many other aspects on which taxpayer services are being offered today to the taxpayer, which include grievance redressal also, even which is monitored at the departmental level, at the highest level, and it is normally ensured that all issues or grievances that are related to the taxpayer are addressed in a seamless manner. So, on the second aspect that I wanted to talk about was on litigation management, or taking steps towards reducing litigation or mitigating the impact of litigation on the taxpayers. Recently, in the past 2-3 years, the government has been making efforts to reduce litigation. Some of the steps that have been taken, I would like to highlight in this seminar. One is that there's been a substantial increase in the monetary limits for filing appeals, which has led to withdrawals of various appeals in multiple judicial forums, reducing the workload of the income tax department as well as the courts. Then we have constituted a committee for minimizing and strengthening litigation management. A committee was created by CBDT with the objective of providing a comprehensive roadmap to strengthen all aspects of litigation management. The committee consisted of various senior officers and, in consultation with stakeholders, gave many recommendations covering aspects of litigation management. Then also there is a committee to study the appellate orders and examining filing of appeals by the tax department. This looks into authorizing the CIT for filing of second appeal before whether it has been filed mechanically by applying monetary limits or on sound grounds after examining the case on merits. Then there are central tax committees and regional tax committees. Their goal is to develop and encourage mutual cooperation between taxpayers and the income tax department, and to remove administrative and procedural difficulties of a general nature. The tax department also came out with the Direct Tax Vivad Se Vishwas Act in 2020, and recently in 2024 there has been another tax scheme for litigants to get out of litigation. There has been a drastic reduction in the number of cases selected for scrutiny. There has been a dispute resolution committee in every region of the Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. It has power to reduce or waive penalty imposable from prosecution, or to do both the things. The Finance Act of 2022 has provisions to allow a taxpayer to file an updated return of income within 24 months from the end of the relevant year on payment of additional tax. Then under Section 158AB, with effect from 1/4/22, Department will not file further appeal to ITAT on or High Court or Supreme Court pending outcome on identical matters. That is, that if there are identical matters which are already there in litigation, so there won't be filing of appeals. The time limit for reopening of income tax proceedings has been reduced from earlier 6 years to now 3 years. And for serious tax evasion cases above rupees 50 lakhs, notice can be issued beyond 3 years, but not beyond 10 years. But there are substantive hierarchical procedures put in place so as to prevent any untoward reopening of cases. Then local committees have been formed to deal with taxpayers' grievances relating to high-pitched scrutiny assessments. CBDT has issued various circulars so as to avoid high-pitched assessments, and multiple circulars and clarifications are published by CBDT, which are binding on the assessing officers while doing assessment orders. So these are some of the steps that have been taken to reduce litigation, and they go towards a large extent to manage the litigative process and to improve corporate governance in that sense of the term. The third aspect that I wanted to talk about was this digital tax, which was earlier christened as the Google tax. This is also for enhancing which was also known as equalization levy. Equalization levy was brought into the Finance Act in 2016, and it was payable by citizens who were taking services from non-residents, for example, Google, Facebook, and all that. It was at the rate of 6%, and it was transactions had a threshold of rupees 1 lakh. Then there was another equalization levy that was proposed by the government in 2020. This was done on e-commerce operators, and this equalization levy was brought in on account of permanent establishment rules that are there within taxation of international transactions, and because there was no permanent establishment that could be established with respect to provision of digital services, because there was no physical PE. Equalization levy was brought in, but now with the advent of India participating in Pillar 1 negotiations, and there's a global tax treaty which is coming on taxation of digital services. This global tax treaty, which is being negotiated all over the world, is on ways of checking tax evasion by digital economy firms. Pillar 1 of OECD, global minimum tax rate of 15%. In Pillar 2, it has been proposed. So the budget of 2024 proposed that starting from 1st August 2024, this second levy of 2% equalization levy on digital electronic platforms providing services in India to Indian customers has been withdrawn. And India will obtain its share of taxation through the Global Tax Treaty, of which India is a signatory. India is a participant, the treaty, but showing India's intentions towards reducing taxation and spurring of corporate growth and participation, we have agreed to withdrawal of this equalization levy of 2%, which was levied in 2020. This will entail less compliance burden. It will increase foreign investment by simplifying the tax regime. It will reduce litigation due to less tax disputes and allow businesses to focus on growth and encourage digital economy by innovation and competition in India's digital market. So these are the three aspects that Pawan, I wanted to speak on. Thank you once again for giving me the opportunity, and many congratulations to you. Pawan, it's on mute.
Yeah. Thank you, Amit. Thank you very much for this explaining about the three important aspects on tax, which is taking shape because all-round development is taking place entire world also. Now, before going to the Avishkar for his point of view, I have to make one request because this program is we are putting online also on the YouTube channel. So I on the basis of the time, I have to extend this time because this is a very important topic and important webinar also. So please excuse us. We are extending the time. I want that everybody to whom we have invited, he speak. Only thing is that you can just focus on your 2-3 issues which you want to highlight. That will be great. So before this, I just want to invite Sanchit. We recently got one license of AIF. Sanchit, over to you.
Thank you so much. We are proud to announce the launch of Makia Capital, a Category 1 alternate investment fund, which unlocks the growth potential of promising businesses by guiding them through the journey of going public, enabling them to access the capital they need to scale. We are proud to offer a comprehensive suite of services tailored for SMEs and high net worth individual, which includes a Category 1 AIF, IPO advisory, and a multi-family office service. Our unique approach combines deep market insights and a strong network and commitment to deliver value not only for businesses but also for our stakeholders and investors. We focus on very highly curated selection of companies poised for significant growth. Our investment strategies, which would be prioritizing the pre-IPO funding, anchor positions, securing exclusive deals long before they reach the broader market. Through preferential issues, turnaround opportunities, and distressed assets, we seek to deliver not just returns, but transformative value for our investors. With a 250 crore fund size and a 5-year horizon, our approach is designed for lasting and a meaningful growth. To learn more, you can connect with us or you can explore on our website, markiacapital.com. Let's shape the future of our industry leaders together.
Thank you, Sanchit. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sanchit.
Thank you so much, sir.
So now, Avishkar, your turn. I will take, I'm extending time, so everybody will have to speak. So Avishkar, your turn.
Yeah. Good evening, sir, and thank you, Pavanji, for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to be part of this initiative. As an individual, what I like about this is pure 2 hours of knowledge sharing, and without any ad breaks or anything, and it's covers all the recent regulatory changes and all. If say by chance ICAI or ICSI had to give this CPE credit for this, then many of us on this seminar would have got many in hundreds because of this webinars and all that. So all kudos to you, sir, for this fantastic initiative. Today, I will be very brief on two aspects. One is the technology part of it, and second is the regulatory part. One of the things which India as a nation would be proud of is technology, the way we have used technology in various aspects of our life. And one of the important area is capital markets. If this technology would have not been used, then we would have not dreamt of having a market capitalization of some 445 lakh crores as on today. So there are multiple changes or initiatives which we have brought in the recent past. So it be it the T+0 settlement, interoperability, direct payout, or system-driven disclosure. Just to give some perspective on where we are from that technology part of it. On a given day, on an exchange platform, 2,000 crore orders or order messages get placed. If we divide it by the number of Indian citizens, literally it is 15 orders per citizen. And when you look at it, we have implemented something called as trading window block during trading window closure during the trading window closure for designated persons at PAN level. So this is the technology levels at which we have reached. So what we as an exchange also have tried to do over a period is bring in various changes in the form of say XBRL or IXBRL, system-driven disclosure or structured digital database in a graded manner with minimal impact. The whole idea over here is not to identify a non-compliance, then levy a penalty, or then go in for promoter freezing, suspension, or delisting, but look at whether through our technology, whether we can reduce the instances of non-compliance. And that's the whole area where we are focusing on. On the regulatory front also, there are 3 C's which we are currently focusing on. One is clarity, second is consistency, and third is continuity. The classic example for clarity is this ISF on rumor verification. The moment it was brought, at least there is some clarity in the market now on how to handle a rumor verification. As we are just speaking now, there is another, we have SEBI has just now released a circular on BRSR also. So that too has come into picture. Currently on the consistency part, there are various ISFs which are in progress and these are in the areas of say RPT, KPI, debt, regulation 30 and all that one. And Pavanji actually is part of, he is actually leading 2 subgroups on that particular aspect. To conclude, what I tried to do is just I had the benefit of going through one of the research surveys of excellence enabler. And if I have to quote that particular survey results, what it basically says is India NC has steadily improving compliance with statutory governance standards. Companies have complied or in few cases exceeded the required but appear to have fallen short of best practices that are non-mandatory. So here comes the part of or the role of Niti and Niyat, in the sense the policy and intent. We as professionals have to help the corporates to achieve that intent objective of the regulations. And webinars of Pavanji, which are basically an instrument to help us on that particular aspect, because for the 2 hours which we discuss all the parts of the Niti and the Niyat of the regulations. And I hope this continues in future also. Thanks, Pavanji.
Definitely, Avishkar, this will continue. The journey will not stop here. And thank you very much for explaining Niti and Niyat and the way the Industry Standard Forum is working and standardize things. It's a good thing. Now, I will request Ashok Agrawalji, who is the chairman of Globe Capital. He can briefly tell about what is his thinking that the market should change or what other changes should take place.
Thank you, Pavanji. So I think congratulations. You have converted a problem into opportunity. Last 4 years, you wanted to hold seminar and now you are holding webinar, and you have a panel of best speakers, which probably would have not been possible if it was a webinar. So good, and congratulations for completing 4 years. And I think 200 seminars.
200, yes.
Yeah, great. Now, I am speaking about our capital market. So, I think India is one of the most efficient capital market in the world. So, we have T+1 settlement. Simultaneously, we have T+0. So, there is a possibility that you want to sell something, you can get the payment the same day. You want to buy a share, you can get the delivery the same day. And of course, there is a problem of liquidity in T+0, but in T+1, there is ample liquidity. So if you sell your shares, you can get your payment within a day. And I think maybe India is one of the very few market, maybe there is only one other market which is having T+1 settlement. So again, so not only efficient market, it is one of the most secured market. So, in India, the clearing corporation guarantees the trade. So when I say they guarantees the trade, every trade that you do on the exchange platform, they are guaranteeing the payment. So the meaning of guaranteeing the payment was they were guaranteeing the payment that if a broker defaults, everybody else will get the payment. But what was happening was nothing was happening to the investor of that particular broker. So if a broker defaulted, the investor who invested through that particular broker, they were still in a problem and there was no guarantee. Now, as per the current system, every investor who has invested in the capital market, the settlement risk has been guaranteed. So, and how it is done? There is a segregation of client collateral at clearing corporation level. So what it means is every investor's collateral is transparently known to the clearing corporation. So if you are holding shares, they know who is holding the shares. So there are more than 15 crore demat account. So the clearing corporation will know whose shares are there in a particular demat account. And similarly, if you have given money to your broker, your money is also safe. So the clearing corporation will know whose money is there in which particular account. And in case a broker defaults, the non-defaulting client and non-defaulting broker are fully protected. So one of the most efficient market, but let us understand, it is only a guarantee of settlement risk. It is not a guarantee of price risk. So just to clarify, so if you buy a share at a particular price, the price may still go down. If you take a position in the market, you may still incur loss. Now, you must have read in the newspaper, SEBI has come out with various consultation paper where they have researched, and they are saying more than 90% of the investor lose money in options, in derivative. So I think that is a problem, and a lot of steps have already been taken. But I think what more needs to be done is investor education, because capital market still, even though we have now around 18 crore demat account from 2020-21, when the demat accounts were only 4 crore, now the demat accounts are more than 18 crore. Still, the knowledge at investor level, a lot needs to be done. So I think SEBI and all the market intermediaries should focus on investor education. And of course, Pawanji wanted everybody to cut short because he has been extending time. I've seen it. I think he has extended time 3-4 times. So I'll be very short. So basically, I think focus should be on investor education. And one more point I would like to highlight, there are quarterly results. And in quarterly results, the corporate declare results, and in many times, there are very serious variations in their numbers. And at times, the promoter don't do a con call or don't do a press conference and don't explain the reason for the variation. I think any variation in the result involving more than 5% of the revenue, it should be mandatory to explain the variation. But that is something which will definitely help investor. And one more thing, India, the transaction cost is one of the highest in the world. So we have STT, we have stamp duty, we have exchange charges, we have SEBI turnover fees, we have GST, and on top of it, we of course have to pay capital gain tax or profit, business profit tax wherever applicable. So I think something needs to be done, because our cost of transaction maybe is 3 to 4 times of cost of transaction, let us say in US or in China.
Okay.
That again is since we are on the eve of budget, that again is something which should be looked at.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll conclude because I think Pawanji again is in a hurry and he has so many speakers and very eminent speakers lined up. So thank you very much for inviting me, and that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ashokji. Your 3 points are very valued. Last point of the quarterly result and investor education is really, it's a need of the hour. Investor education should be in real terms, not on the eyewash. And in India, the real investor education is not there. Okay, so thank you very much, Ashokji, for giving your valuable time. Now, I will just want to introduce a very interesting person and very dear to me, Prakhar Gupta. Now, Prakhar is a CEO of PG Expression and creator of Prakhar Ke Pravachan, and he has a 19 lakh followers and more than this. And every time he's coming out with new podcasts. And interestingly, people must be thinking that how the Prakhar is a company secretary. And from company secretary, he is now the influencer. And he's not talking only about the financial market, he's talking about the everything on this earth on different topic. Prakhar, welcome. And my question to you, because we discussed, you are a company secretary, how you have reached to this and how was your journey? Prakhar, your voice is cracking. No, still it is cracking.
Check.
Yeah, now it is better.
Yes. So I would like to start off by thanking all the esteemed speakers that have spoken before me and will speak after me. To answer your question, Uncle, I ended up doing what I do quite by accident. I was a company secretary, and after finishing my course, I went on to study abroad, and I studied economics and psychology primarily. I also studied philosophy, religion, cinema, and hard sciences to whatever degree I could. And in that, I found it very interesting to start thinking about problems that face communities, societies, nations, people, and I started thinking them out loud on YouTube. One thing led to another, things started picking up. I started making more revenue than I thought I would while I was still in college, and I started considering this more seriously. Somewhere throughout this, COVID happens, and when COVID happens, I move back to India while I'm still pursuing my education, and I start spending more time creating content. And by the time I was graduating college in 2022, I had already built a successful enterprise with several employees and, a very ongoing sort of business for myself. And so I ended up here pretty much by accident. It was not by design, and I find it to be a very interesting place where I am.
Okay, what is your thinking that how the influencer role will change the society and specifically the corporate world? So what you feel and what you think?
I will answer the question about the corporate world second, primarily how it will change the world. So if I may in Hindi, and I'll speak in Hindi and English mix, it will be easier. Influencers are large magnets that attract attention. And attention is where all the perception of the world is manufactured. So earlier, if attention was on newspapers, whatever was written on newspapers was true. Your generation, my father's generation, they grew up reading newspapers as the biblical truth. If it is written in a newspaper, it's mostly true. Right? And since then, other media came about. There was a television generation. What we are seeing now is the internet generation. And as far as internet generation is concerned, I am the Times of India and I am the Hindustan Times. I am that. And by I mean people like myself and people who do far better than I do. Right? So we become not only the places from which information flows, what we say becomes some version of truth, but we also become attention magnets. Now, to answer the question how it impacts the global business world is that all advertising is now over leveraging themselves, are moving towards us. We are becoming advertising nodes because wherever attention is, advertising can follow. Not only that, we are also becoming businessmen ourselves. So a lot of influencers are realizing if we are advertising for other people, we might as well just build a product and advertise for ourselves. So we are becoming entrepreneurs, actors, journalists, and newspapers all rolled into one. It's a very new territory. As far as history is concerned, I can't think of an analog, a lookalike for this creatorship, this influencership that has come to be, and be like, "Acha, pehle aisa tha, ab aisa hai." Like there is a similarity. It's very, very rare. It's many things bundled into the same phenomena. I think the corporate world is very secure in certain ways. There are acres of policy. And Uncle, you'd ask me if there was something I would like to talk about on the regulatory front of all of this. We are a very unregulated market. We are in this market because we like a lack of regulation. We are very fond of our freedom. That's why we do what we do. And so the corporate world hasn't come to exist properly with the influencer world. Because like the corporate world, like the government world, like the government agency world, there's a lot of policy. And so that bridge is being built as we speak now. And in perhaps the next 3-4 years, I'd be able to answer that question better.
Okay, Prakhar, nice. I just want to tell you that I will organize a separate session because the influencer word is changing entire thing. Because I have written an article that how the influencer is changing the advertising work and other thing. So it has come out that the faith on media is reducing and faith on individual is increasing.
Yes, public journalism, yes.
Though individual is not a credible thing. Suppose a NDTV, suppose Aaj Tak or Times of India, they have a credibility of long years. But even then, the people like you, people like others have more followers, and people are believing now. So
Yes.
they think that other people are giving the biased opinion you people are giving. So I will organize a separate program, and I will share with you, and we will talk about the professional, we talk about the journey, we talk about other things. So you are taking interview others, I will take your interview. So we will do that. Okay.
Uncle, whenever you say. It will be my
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you very much. Prakhar, मेरे पास time थोड़ा कम है.
No,
Otherwise,
no problem, Uncle. Please.
yeah. Okay. Now, Shivaram sir, you are a company secretary of La L&T, and from beginning you are here, and I'm seeing. So, because the way Prakhar is talking today, the word is on media, on YouTube. What I'm discussing may not be relevant for 2-3 hours, but on media it is live every time. So I will request you your point of view on future. What are the things which you think should change?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Actually, thank you, Pawan, for inviting me to this event. And congratulations to you and team for this 200th milestone of sharing knowledge. It's a great work which you are doing. And I'll tell you, when you talk about catalyst of corporate growth, no, your name comes in the forefront, because what you are doing actually, whenever there is a change or a consultation paper, you bring experts from both the sides, from the regulator side as well as from the industry side, make them interpret, analyze, and then come to some consensus, which is much easier for the company secretaries then to go back and apply it, right, actually in their companies. So kudos to that, actually. What I'll do, Pawan, is actually, before I say something about what need to be done actually futuristically, I'll touch upon the role of a company secretary and compliance officer as a catalyst of corporate growth. Let us see a couple of things which he does and how it helps in the corporate growth, right? Actually, one is he ensures governance excellence. A lot of people talked about the governance. He ensures best practices in board and processes and the shareholder engagement, which is ultimately the people who make decisions for the company are in the board actually, and he enables them to take the right decision. And if you see look at governance, actually, good governance is like a good horoscope. It attracts good alliances, which is good talent, good customers, good vendors, good partners, and overall good relationship with the regulators, which is very important actually for a company to survive in today's world. Company secretary is also a strategic counsel. With his knowledge on regulatory implications and risk management, he can advise strategically the board. The third one is the stakeholder trust, actually. By enhancing transparency, incorporating high standards, and disseminating the information at the right time, timely, he helps on getting the trust. Actually, the trust is created by doing the right things for a long period of time. It is not created on one day. And if you see, actually, in this fierce competitive world, right, actually, what differentiates companies is the trust which the people have on a company, whether it is the customers, whether it is the investors, whether it is the regulators. Trust plays a very big role, and that needs to be sustained. The next role the compliance officer or the company secretary plays is the advocacy, which has become a little more easier these days as the regulators look forward to engaging with the industry representatives. So it's much easier. You need to play that role, actually, getting involved when consultation papers are there and give your suggestions, which the company secretary does, actually collects, compiles, and gives those from the other business and gives it to the regulator. One suggestion over here is, as many of the speakers said, that one is we don't need any change in the corporate laws at this point of time. Whatever is there is more than sufficient. What is required is enforcement. What is happening here now is, for the minority which is breaching, and for every breach a new law comes or a clarification comes, which is not helping actually the companies which are doing good governance. So this is something which we need to take back. We have taken it back. Let's hope the regulators look at it. The next one is the compliance role which the company secretary plays, and the AI, the automation which you told has really helped us in this field. Some work is being shared by the AI at this point. What we do here is we engage with the business sets, understand and help them, make them aware in how compliance has to be done. Company sectors also play a good role in the ESG and CSR, and which is helping the environment as well as the company in increasing its productivity. Now, I'll just close by telling a shloka from Taittiriya Upanishad, which is even the first two are the motto, our institute's motto also. Satyam vada, dharmam jara, swadhyayan ma pramadaha, madr devo bhava, pidr devo bhava, acharya devo bhava, aditi devo bhava. What it says is, speak the truth, walk the path of virtues, never stop self-study, which is very important for everyone, actually, whether it's a spiritual study or the study for interacting in the world, and consider everyone as divine and respect them. Humility is very important for anybody to go forward. Thank you for this opportunity, Pawan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Your point is enforcement is very, very important. Law is there, but we are always reactive. For settling one law, we make the another law, and we don't focus on implement. And this implementation part is implemented, it will be a great thing. Now, I will request Manikantha. He's a company secretary and compliance officer of Infosys. He is also waiting. Mani, your point of view, because you are not only handling India, but you are handling globally. So your exposure is totally different. Over to you.
Hi, Pawan. Thank you. Thanks, first of all, for having me here. It's great to see there's so many galaxy of speakers are in this session and they are sharing their views across domains. So it's overwhelming to see. I must tell you, I am also one of the beneficiaries of your webinars. So, conducting the 200th webinar is not easy by any means. So therefore, my heartiest congratulations to you. Just to touch upon, I think many speakers have spoken already. I don't want to repeat those, including Shivaram. Actually, what I wanted to say, Shivaram has already covered, so I don't know what to speak right now. But having said that, I would like to give you a broad spectrum as India is preparing for to achieve the 5 trillion economy. I think it's a time to pause and just reflect what reforms are required. And in that context, I would actually divide two groups. One is the listed and unlisted companies all together, put together. And the second is the startup ecosystem. And I think in the first bucket of listed and unlisted companies, there is a good ecosystem of regulations which are prevailing. We have seen all the earlier speakers, right from SEBI to income tax to other departments, who has narrated what they have been doing. So therefore, I think for this ecosystem, there are good and enough reform, good and enough laws which are there. The only thing which may be not forthcoming is the enforcement, like what Shivaram was mentioning. I think if you can do that, then I don't think we would require any more laws to come in. So we have more laws which can tighten the entire system. So therefore, that will be my first recommendation. And the second thing which I spoke about, the startup ecosystem. Now, startup ecosystem also we have spoken. I think earlier speakers also spoke about the startup ecosystem, of how important it is and how the unicorn have come in the last couple of years. So there in the startup ecosystem, I think it's important to introduce the governance aspect much earlier in the system, so that the governance aspects have been put across in the DNA of the company. And when it grows bigger, we don't get into the situation of frauds or embezzlement or any of those things. I think once you institute this, we can see many unicorns coming into the light, and it will be good for the investing community. It will be good for the ecosystem, I think it will be a good mix of both the worlds. So I think those were the 2 points which I wanted to submit with you. And the last suggestion is probably in case if there is anything which has to be done as a reforms, is something which has to be done on the artificial intelligence. Now, in the artificial intelligence, there are no ethics. I mean, meaning the ethics have to be still thought through. So the creator of the artificial intelligence there should be some regulation or something which has to be enforced in that regard. I think that will be the first thinking what I had. And the second one is more about data privacy laws. Today in India, data privacy laws is not recognized very well. The way it has been recognized out in different parts of the world, probably that is something which we have to do more than what we are doing. I think those are the points which I thought I would share with you. Thank you once again for having me here.
Absolutely right, Mani. The AI ethics is very, very important when we are talking about the robot. They will do everything. Then they will beat somebody also. They can kill somebody. So who will be responsible for their action? What you have feeded. So anything has to, because human mind can be arrested that this person has done mistake, but in the robot, you have to see who is culprit and where is mensaria. So you have to prove that mensaria. And I think this is very nice point that ethics of AI is a need of hour, and data protection is also very, very important. Thank you very much, Mani, for giving your things. Now I will request Ajay Agrawal. He is a company secretary of an HDFC. He's one of the very learned person. I'll request him to say your point.
Yeah. So thank you, Pawanji. Thank you for having me here and making me a part of your grand success. Congratulations to you and your entire team.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would also like to appreciate corporate professionals for organizing such high quality and impactful webinars, which according to me have consistently been a meaningful exchange of ideas and dissemination of invaluable sites. So Pawanji, I actually wanted to speak on, I don't know, I can't switch on my video. So I wanted to speak on artificial intelligence, cyber security and others, so which my friends Mani and Sivaram, they have already spoken to. So just I want to then, what should I talk? They have already spoken. So I was also said to talk about what happens next year, what is there in future horizon. So I say, what I see next year, I see all compliance officer to be at least one level below the board. I see that all the compliance officer next year. Some of them in future maybe on the boards of the large listed company. That is number one. Number two, since this issue has been grappling the compliance officer, there are different views are coming to. Pawanji, would you like me to speak 1 minute on that?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, you can speak, sir.
Yeah. So at least I have received 20 to 25 calls on this. What are your interpretation on the law and all? So I thought you have given me a right platform to speak on that. To see, according to me, some of our professional colleagues are trying to interpret the law in the way that puts our profession on a lower pedestal, according to me. Some of our peers are doubting on how some of them can get such a elevation, how a company can elevate someone 2-3 grade at once. Actually, we should be thankful to SEBI, to our regulator, that they have learned the importance, they know the importance of a compliance officer, and that's how they have made this regulation. According to me, let us not argue in this subject and let's move ahead. And if there are certain companies wherein the company secretary or compliance officer is 4 or 5 level below the board. Then those companies were wrong from day one, and they need to rectify the same. This is what I wanted to say, because artificial intelligence and other things, the role of the company secretary compliance officer has already been spoken to. So thank you, Pawanji, and congratulations once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ajayji. Thank you very much. Now, Arun Kumar Singh, he is ex-editor of M&A in ET, and presently he is running the firm of communication, PR or investor education, investor relation. So, Arun, you have heard Prakhar also, you have heard other speakers also. What is your call on future of communication, how things will take place, and how the credibility and other things which is losing, it will come?
So I have, I don't know, a few points to make. I don't know from where to start. Since I was a journalist for 29 years, and last I headed M&A of Economic Times, and before that I was in different publications. My personal view is that communications, if you divide in two parts, one is the legacy media, which is the print and televisions, and second is digital media or own media, whether the social media, how you describe it. I'm broadly categorizing in two categories. So one is there certainly on the downhill journey that legacy media is losing its interest. Own media is something which is like Prakhar and all that. They are taking their kind of a shape in the market, and currently, as Prakhar says, that they all roll into one as a promoter, entrepreneurs, and everything. However, I have a serious concern on this jungle of informations that is going around in the market. And particularly for one of the speakers said that if you categorize into three categories, I believe somebody said that on startup ecosystem and unlisted ecosystem and the listed ecosystem. What is most important is that most of the corporate now, particularly in the startup ecosystem and unlisted ecosystem, they have to differentiate when to speak, what to speak, and why to speak. What is the purpose of communications? Since you have freedom to speak because you own the media, so like let's assume that I have a LinkedIn or any social media platform that I own, and I can issue any statement that I own. What is the necessity to issue that platform? That gives you the who will check and balance, and what is the ramification of that? And most of the case, what I have found in this part of the industry when I joined this communication part as a partner, I realized that people have an issue in this because it's easy to distribute the information, but they don't know the implication of that information, how it is going to bite them. And most of the time, it is going to bite them. So it is easy for any influencer to propagate any information, but it turned back to them again. So it's important to how to restrict yourself, that even if it's easy to inform, whether need to inform or not, that you have to decide. And I know recently one of the case of my client, and without naming it, and they wanted to say some statement they issue. I said, no, you should not issue it. And at the unlisted space, they said, no, I want to issue it. I said, boss, you have a problem here because the industry you're operating, it is a regulated industry, and then you have a problem. Eventually, they end up having the problem, and they went one of the advisor like you, Vijay sir, and they say that, no, you can't do this. I mean, you can't make. And the MD and everybody gung-ho is that, no, this is very important statement. I need to make a brand because that's the way I position my brand. It doesn't work. The restriction, how the regulation work, and how on the cusp of this explosion, communication is a very critical part. It has no restrictions in own media, and the corporate need to impose the personal restrictions. That is, nobody knows the barrier. That is where the purpose of the communication they must know. The medium of the communication on what they should do, whether they want to use the legacy media, they want to own media, they also need to know it. It is not to that you forego the legacy media. You have to use it. You can't say that you can't be using it, despite the fact that you can use the own media. And thirdly, is more important, like Ashok sir has said, that transparency is lacking many a times when the company is with press release. There are limitations of transparency. I can say you this much only because I know both sides of the game. There are limitations what to whether the transparency by way of press conference or by way of a press statement. Two are two different issues, and the two are different modalities. So the reason I'm saying that what to speak and when to speak is very important for any communication purpose. And therefore, anybody, if without jumping into this gun that I can do this, then possibly there is a case of a problem also facing in the future. That's what I'm saying. That's the limited part.
Okay. Thank you, Arun. We will do one session with Prakhar, influencer, and the traditional media versus the new media. We will do it. Okay. So now, Pradeep, you have joined at the right time. Okay. So I will request you to say something about, because you are working in relating to Gift City, and that is the future. That itself is the future. And in the future, what is the future? Please tell us.
Thank you. First of all, I'm very happy to meet a lot of you, including you, GP Madanji, a lot of people here. Thank you so much for this. And I would like to first compliment CP. I have been part of a lot of webinars. There is always a saying, no businessman is a philanthropist. Okay, but I can tell you that you are one businessman who is also a philanthropist, because all these, the biggest thing that we can all give to the world is knowledge, right? And you have been doing it for such so many years, and it is all free for everyone. So that is something which I should really compliment, not just because I have been part of a few, but this is something which very few people will do. And I wish you, and I wish CP and team Anjali and everyone that you do a lot more of such programs and let the world get benefited. So IFSCA, so I was with SEBI for 22 years. There have been a lot of learnings from SEBI because SEBI is probably one of the most cutting edge regulators you can work with. Most of the, almost all the regulations that have come from SEBI stipulations are all world class, and in fact, even world leading. So thankfully, that has helped me kept me in good stead. And when I have come here, we have tried to implement a lot of these things. But the thing about IFSCA is that now, until 1991, we were following a different type of economy. From 1991 onwards, we have been used to a liberalized economy. No, but I will say this is the third coming. The third coming will be where, of course, we have been used to a liberalized economy, but we also want India to become a world leader in many things. Like, for example, in gold, we want to be a price setter, right? It's like for example, we want to bring money in, we want to bring onshore the offshore. Essentially, the IFSCA has been created with the idea of onshoring the offshore. We are also to be a gateway for global funds, and ensure that a lot of international services also happen out of this jurisdiction. So towards that, we have got our own stock exchanges, we have got our own. So it's just a separate enclave which is here. And why is this the future? Because as I told you, there are different stages in India's economy, socialist and liberalized. And this is the third stage. The third stage envisages that India will, the ideas for a Viksit Bharat that we have got, Viksit Bharat 2047, and also the fact that India needs capital. We need capital as far as sustainable finance is concerned, and a lot of infrastructural things are concerned. And the IFSCA is a future through which the AIFs and other funds and even bonds and other issues also, are sort of channelized. Now, the IFSCA is not just about raising funds. We also want to be an international finance center like Hong Kong or Singapore. Towards this, we have got different verticals like banking, we have got insurance, pension, aircraft leasing, foreign universities. You will be amazed to know that foreign universities have started their campuses and courses here, which you can study for less than half the price which you pay internationally. So essentially, what we are trying to do here is to create an ecosystem which will really help India funnel money into India and make India to that monetary superpower which India should be. And because we are saying that we are number 5 in world economy, and we are going to gallop to number 3 very shortly. And for that, you need an international finance center, because that is one piece that was sort of missing. Now, while we will ensure that, we'll try our best to ensure that all these things are available from our side. We'll try to continue to innovate. In fact, we also have a TechFin platform. We have a FinTech platform. We have a lot of innovations happening in sandboxes. All these things are the future. But we would also want public to give us, not just information, suggestions on the growth, because this is the entire IFSC is like a sandbox, right? So we are trying out newer things. We are trying out bringing out new things. Okay, we try, we fail, we succeed. So towards this, I think we would want the general public suggestions, and we are the first regulator in India to have a regulation for making regulations, and this has helped us in good stead because we have when we invite comments from the public, it comes from all over the world because of the unique position in which the IFSCA is situated. So we'll continue to do outreach programs, and one of the days, I'm sure we will join CP also in an exclusive program. Already we did one on listing, but we would want to do maybe a half-a-day program purely on IFSCA, including other verticals, which is something which we'll schedule. But through this, I would like to tell you that IFSCA is one of the one of the angles through which the future of Indian economy can be sort of seen, and we are really proud to be associated, and we are happy to be part of it. So I wish the program all success, and I wish CP and the team all success.
Thank you very much, Pradeep. Thank you for your kind words. And you are always, when you were in SEBI, now you are in GIFT City, we have organized program. You were the part of the speaker. And we all admire your knowledge. And the most important thing, when I met you in SEBI recently, and I was talking to some of the SEBI officers, and I told the way Pradeep has passionate, he will make successful whatever he will do. And that is the spirit you have and you are following. So thank you very much, Pradeep. Thank you for your things. And I hope that GIFT City should be successful. And your experience of SEBI, listing, debt market, and other thing, and with this will help you. And by the way, you are also company secretary. So today, so many people are. So friends, now, no doubt we missed Anuradha madam because she was in Bangalore for launching of this Prime Minister program or internship, and she came 2 times. And that time, speaker was speaking, and then she was called for a meeting. We will definitely miss. Now, I will request P. Nagesh. He is on our board also, and he's a family. Nagesh is a senior advocate, and Nagesh, I will request you. Madan has started. One family member started, and second family member is closing. Other than Manoj, which will do the ritual. Yeah, over to you.
Good evening, esteemed colleagues, friends, and guests. Today, I'm thrilled to speak on the 200th webinar. I think I told Pawan when using the cricket analogy, we said a day is coming where, like how Sehwag scored 300 and Brian Lara scored 300, we will reach 300 very soon. I'm very happy for that, and congratulations for that. Being a part of the CP, I'm overwhelmed that we have achieved this part of the webinar, which started during COVID. I'm really happy for our team to do this. And now coming to what we've done in all these webinars, I think we have shared so much of knowledge, and which has unlocked collective potential. I would use this language because the benefits of knowledge sharing in an age where information is abundant, the act of sharing knowledge has become a cornerstone for personal growth. That is important. Organizational success and societal advancement. So what happens is when we share knowledge, there is so much of acceleration, innovation, new ideas, experiences, insights. Everything is done because of the communication, and we break this communication into diverse perspectives to coverage, spark creativity, etc. For example, I just give an example. In the tech industry, we had this open source. If you remember, we had this open source projects like Linux and Apache.
Yeah.
They thrived because of this collaborative contributions of thousands of developers worldwide, leading to groundbreaking achievements. Similarly, what we have done with this platform, we have given a lot of potential to people to learn and develop their skills, be it in the professionals, be it in the industry, be it anywhere. We have achieved this, and we did it all with sense of what we call it is a sense of commitment. We wanted everybody to learn. We were not selfish. We wanted everybody to know everything from all corners of their life. So that is one achievement we had. And what we did, we also built stronger communities, because By sharing the knowledge, we fostered the community's trust and cooperation. When people come together to share their knowledge, they build a sense of camaraderie and support. This is what we achieved. Today's list of speakers, vote for it. Right from the top judges to everybody, we have built a camaraderie, we built a strong community. And that's what I'm very happy about it. And then finally, what are we done? We are improving the organization efficiency. We have improved, we have streamlined the processes and enhanced the performance, knowledge, etc. So with this, I think I'm really happy that I'm thankful to all our distinguished speakers who spared their time, shared their knowledge. And in conclusion, the benefit of sharing are profound and far-reaching. By sharing what we know, we accelerate, as I said earlier, innovation, enhance learning, build stronger communities, improve organizational efficiency, facilitate problem solving. That is important. Many people hesitate in solving problems by asking somebody. We have taught them by these seminars, we solve these problems. So finally, what I conclude is, let us celebrate, let us embrace the spirit of collaboration and open communication, unlocking the collective potential that lies within each of us. That is important. Each of us are talented. We are unlocking the potential. Together, we can create a brighter, more informed, and prosperous future. I thank all the gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen who participated in our webinar today, and hope this continues. And I congratulate everyone in CP who have achieved this great milestone. Thank you, Pawan. Thanks, my team.
Thank you, Nagesh. Thank you very much. Before closing this and talking to Manoj, I just request Ankit, because he has to make two very important announcements. Over to you, Ankit.
Hi, sir. Thank you. And the two important announcements that are that participants are soul of our program, as we have mentioned right from the very beginning. And there are various participants who have been attending our program since 2000 and have attended majority of our programs. We also thought that it's also an opportunity for us to recognize those who have been continuously attended our all the webinars. So today we will just, as a token of appreciation, recognize the top 5 participants who have attended most of our webinars. So starting with Shivam, if you can. Mr. Raman Murthy Malla, he's the highest attendee for all our programs, attended almost all of the programs, attended 168 webinars. Thank you, Mr. Ravana. He's former executive director at Royal Bank of Scotland. Thank you. We appreciate your time and your unwavering support. Mr. A.G. Vaidyanath, practicing company secretary, Chennai, have attended around 149 webinars. Thank you, Mr. Vaidyanath. Mr. Ajit Mandik, have attended 133 webinars. He's appears to be from a very different field, but have been a very continuous supporter of our webinars. Thank you, Mr. Ajit. Mr. Abdul Rahim from Hyderabad. He's an advocate and insolvency professional. Thank you, Mr. Abdul, for being continuously joining our webinars. And lastly, I believe Mr. Mahendra Bhuta, who have attended around 132 webinars from Mumbai. Thank you, Mr. Bhuta. Thanks all of you for your support. And we hope that you will continue to be with us for the next 100 webinar, as Nagesh sir mentioned. So while we have taken this opportunity to thanks all of our participants, it's also because our speakers that makes the webinar special. So we also take this opportunity to congratulate and thank the top 5 speakers who have been very regular visitors to our webinars. So Shivam, if you can run through all of them. Ms. Savitri Parekh, Ms. Company Secretary and Compliance Officer of Reliance Industries, have been a very regular panelist at our webinars. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for your time. V.S. Sundarshan, sir, he was also there in today's webinar, Executive Director SEBI. Thank you, sir, for you being a very regular speaker to our webinars. This is a very overwhelming act, and corporate professionals is very happy to be having with you on all these webinars. Ms. Geetika Anand, Joint President, Company Secretary and Compliance Officer, Hindalco Industries Limited. Thank you, Geetika. Thanks for your contribution in all these webinars. Mr. Narayan Shankar, Vice President and Company Secretary, attended almost 16 webinars. Thank you, Narayan sir. And lastly, I believe Dr. K.S. Ravichandran, Managing Partner, KSR and Company, Company Secretaries LLB. Thank you, Mr. Ravichandran, for all your contribution. Thanks all of the 5 top speakers for attending the program. I'll now request Manoj. Okay, sir will now take this forward. Thank you.
So these are the Madan sir is also top, but he is a family member, so his name
Sir,
is.
your voice is not very audible.
He's audible. Madan sir is a family member, so that's why his name is not appearing. But otherwise, he is also a regular faculty member in all our aspects. So, friends, it's a time of closing. Before giving to Manoj for vote of thanks, I just want to thank from my side. Everybody has appreciated the efforts, the time, and the things. So I just want to tell that this particular journey which we have started, the main person who was there, who has supported us, and because of his confidence, we have reached this. That is Mr. V.K. Agrawal. Mr. Agrawal is a person who has given a confidence, and whatever we are doing, he was correcting and putting in a right way. That's why in last 200 webinars, you have seen we have, I think, minimal controversy, minimal controversial point things, because when you are in media, you talk, something is there. I think except 1 or 2 incident, nothing has happened. And that is Mr. V.K. Agrawal. He has done. He is presently facing one health challenge. That's why he's not here. And I request everybody to pray for his speedy recovery. And he is a one source at 74 years. His agileness and his trust towards distribution knowledge is tremendous. So I pray Agrawalji to get well soon, and he should join our webinar again and start this journey. Second person is Shivam. He's worked with Agrawalji, and Shivam is the person who is sending mails to everybody, and all the 300 speaker or all the participants, those who have joined, they may not be aware of others' name, but Shivam's name is everybody knows, and Shivam is really giving too much efforts, and because of it, he's the backbone of entire sending letters, identifying this, sending mail, everything is doing. And then Vivek Vijay is another person who is managing this entire thing. And then we have our social media team led by Shivika and Kanakshri, and the designer Asif, who is doing this. Really, they are doing wonderful job. And then comes to our knowledge team, the departmental head like Anjali, Mohini, Sanchit, Ravi, Ruchika, Ankit, and Manoj. Because whenever we are organizing a program, each department is taking responsibility and they prepare presentation, read, study, and do this. So this is 1 month exercise for each department. Then we are able to do it. So I thanks everyone individually for achieving this journey. Now I will request Manoj to give the proper finally the vote of thanks to everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks, Nagesh sir, and you for giving a detailed vote of thanks. You have already given, but as a matter of formality and procedure, I am just doing the needful. So, good evening, everyone. As we conclude this remarkable journey of 200 webinar of corporate professional, I stand before you with immense gratitude. This is not just the conclusion of today's session, but a celebration of a journey fueled by relentless effort, collaboration, and unwavering support of all. First and foremost, my heartfelt thanks goes to all esteemed speakers. Sir has already named, and we have found that some of them contributed in many of the webinars, and their knowledge sharing spirit has made these webinars so successful. You have generously shared your expertise, insights, and perspectives. Your contributions have transformed this platform into a hub of knowledge where ideas spark, meaningful discussion happens, and solutions emerge. Thank you for evolving and elevating the standard of these webinars. Then comes to our incredible participants. You are the soul of this initiative. We have started this journey 4.5 years ago, but because of your encouragement, we are continuing in every on every Friday at 4 to 6, and this is a very useful for everyone. Your active engagement, thoughtful questions, and consistent support are the driving force behind this success. From the first webinar to this 200th milestone, your enthusiasm has kept us motivated to continuously improving and innovating on all aspects. A special thanks to entire corporate professionals team. I think sir has already given a specific name-wise contribution. Thanks to all. So behind every successful webinar, there is a team of dedicated individuals sharing seamless planning, coordination, and execution. This milestone is a testament of your hard work, passion, and creativity. Then last and the most important, my heartfelt gratitude to our founder, Mr. Pawan Kumar Vijay. I think it is not to be said that everyone was questioning. हम लोगों को भी कई बार लगता था कि I think it is taking too much time of ours, but he met it. That commitment would continue, and every Friday would be this will be on the same time at every Friday. So his unwavering commitment to excellence has been guiding light for this initiative. His belief in the transformative power knowledge sharing inspired us to create a platform that serves as a beacon for the professional across industries. As we celebrate this milestone, let's remind ourselves that education is the kindling of the flame and not the filling of the vessel, as said by famous philosopher Socrates. So this flame ignited through our webinars will continue to burn brightly, guiding us towards greater understanding and excellence. Our journey is far from over. Continuity and consistency will remain our guiding principles, and we would build a strong community of learners, thinkers, and leaders. That is our thought. So I think the next Friday, again, we will be here with a new topic, which is changes in the LODR, SEBI LODR regulations, and also the outcome of the SEBI board meeting, which happened the day before yesterday. So join us on the next Friday at 4 p.m. And this journey will continue. Thank you all for being part of this remarkable evening. Let us honor the past, celebrate the present, and embrace the limitless possibility of the future. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.